Have I got Alistair with me?
Yes, I am here, Simon. Was that a question or just a...
Just checking.
Just checking.
Yeah. Right, it's the first time we've been on today. Is early mornings, that's probably your normal routine, isn't it? Getting up early to whatever it is you do with the sheep at that time of the morning?
Not quite.
No?
Not quite at 2:30 when my alarm went off this morning. We obviously busy. We're just about to start lambing, but it's not quite 2:30. We get up 5:30 maybe. Someone will be down there definitely at 5. It's not too bad, is it?
No. And when you were playing, didn't you used to do all your training early in the morning?
Yeah, I'm an early bird. Definitely early bird. So yeah, I did a lot of my training. Maybe because Gucci was even more of an early bird than I was, but I did a lot of my training early in the morning. So actually, it is a little bit of a shock. I had a bit of a bad half an hour in that session. Not that I was listening to Tuffers or anyone. I was struggling to stay awake, but I've been energised.
Well, the first day is the hardest day.
Oh.
So it'll be fine from now on. No, Michael's disagreeing with that. He says the third day's the worst. Okay, there we go. My experience, the first day's the hardest day. When you're getting up, it's a bit like jet lag, isn't it? When you change all your body rhythms. Right, play's about to resume after tea. Jimmy Anderson's taken all 3 wickets so far, but Sri Lanka are showing the resistance again that they showed in the second innings in the first test. I say showing the resistance, they're just playing normally in a test match, really, in home conditions. 155 for 3. Alex Hales, by the way, just in Big Bash, as Anderson goes in and bowls the first ball after tea to Matthews, pushes into the offside and there's no run. Alex Hales is 82 not out in the Sydney Derby from 45 balls, bizarrely playing that match at the Adelaide Oval. So he's going well. Talking about the Big Bash, Dan Lawrence at the end of that tea interval. Lawrence played 4 games for the Heat and then obviously had to leave to join up with the England party for this trip. So it is Anderson after tea, and he's been miserly, and he's been England's only successful bowler today, helped by 2 wickets inside the first 5 overs. And inevitably, with no one in the ground, there's someone moving behind the sight screen. I don't know how on earth this is happening. Anderson rather grumpily telling someone to sit down or move. And it's Matthews on strike, batting outside of his crease to Anderson, and Anderson bowls a dead straight ball about 9 inches outside the off stump, and Matthews ignores it and allows it to go through to Butler. And we saw Matthews after lunch basically just trying to see Anderson off. They say, I'm not getting out to him, and seeing that spell off, and in the end they took Anderson off, and on Matthews went the same way he played in that second innings of the first test match, showing great resolve, determination, skill, and playing within himself as well. He looks up to see Anderson moving in to bowl to him at 155 for 3, and Matthews clips that away towards mid-wicket, and there is no run.
England will be telling themselves here, when they just add 2 onto this partnership. I know it's a good old cricket cliche, but suddenly 160 for 5 on a real flat one on day 1. England will take that all day, every single day in these conditions. So they'll be desperate just to get this little breakthrough of this partnership, which what's it now is coming up to 80, is it 82, 83?
They came together at 76.
So not quite. Coming up to 80, and yeah, if they can just somehow break this partnership.
Dick Weller to come next. Here's Anderson bowling. Matthews plays defensively back to the bowler, and there's no run. They have reshaped lower down. There's no Shanaka, there's no Hasaranga in this test match. We've got Lakmal back and Ramesh Mendes in at number 7, playing his first test match. Let's have a look. His first class average is 43, and he's actually got a triple hundred as well. So there we go.
Jadeja like.
Yeah.
Jadeja like.
Yeah.
He's got like 3 triple hundreds or something.
Yeah, well, Jadeja, very handy player to have coming at number 7, 8, something like that. Anderson moves in and bowls to Matthews. Matthews drives, plays it up towards mid-on, where Mark Wood bends down to pick up. One of the other features of today's play, which I've noticed, and I'm slightly intrigued by it, is we've had no Mickey Cam today. I don't know if you were watching or seeing the pictures in the first test match. We had a lot of focus on Mickey Arthur, the Sri Lanka coach, and we haven't seen anything of him today.
It's been slightly less dramatic though, hasn't it? I mean, I'm sure at 7 for 2 he might have been
Yeah, but you think of pictures of him smiling or something, or just drinking a cup of tea. But it's almost as if we're banned from seeing Mickey today. It's possible, who knows? Here is Anderson bowling outside the off stump. It's guided away by Matthews towards cover, and there's no run. And he's wearing tracksuit trousers today rather than his tight shorts that we saw in the first game. There was a bit of comment on that round and about during that test match. So whether he's aware of it, perhaps I don't know, he just wants to stay out of the picture today. 155 for 3. It's funny, isn't it? You see Mickey, you know exactly what's going on in the game when you watch Mickey. When someone like Duncan Fletcher or Trevor Bayliss, they have the same expression all day.
There's not so much poker face, is there, with old Mickey?
Well, it was fun. It was fun. It was a good sideshow to what was going on in that first Test match. I mean, it's interesting. What does the dressing room think about a coach showing emotion like that?
I don't know, really. I don't think it matters, does it? Like.
What was Andy Flower like? He would sit there.
He would sit there with sit there. You kind of knew the disgust. Most times he wore sunglasses, so and tucked himself away. He didn't quite have as many outbursts as Mickey seemed to have.
No,
but he did storm into the match referee a few times. He did know when he wasn't that happy with something.
Leach bowls, just draws Chandimal wide there outside the off stump, playing at it, pushing, trying to get a single, but Matthews not interested. And there's a little nod from Chandimal to say, yeah, that was the right call. That would have been a risky run. Matthews not the quickest between the wickets. We've seen a few twos today that might have been threes with other batsmen like Warner or Bairstow. Leach bowls, that is dabbed into the offside, and this time it's tip and run, and Matthews responds. It might have been Chandimal saying, come on Angela, there was a single there last ball, just get your running head on after lunch. And Matthews saying, yeah, okay, you're right. Chandimal goes to 43, Matthews to 63, and Sri Lanka to 156 for 3. What sort of first day pitch is this then? Does it feel like a sort of 280 for 4 type of surface?
Yeah, I mean it does. It hasn't gone off the straight, has it, at all?
Leach bowls, short cut away by Matthews out towards deep cover. Sweeper out there, Sibley, and they get another single. Matthews to 64.
I just wondered.
157 for 3.
Sorry, I just wonder whether, like now, straight after tea, whether we could, Joe Root could challenge Chandimal's kind of ego. Bring a couple of men up. You can't, as we're sitting here, you can't see the field.
Leach bowls, Chandimal defends. No run.
As in, hasn't got a short leg. He's only got one catcher, like close catcher. It slipped Joe Root himself. Zach called it a very straight catching mid off on the drive. But I just wonder if you could bring mid off up and say, go on then, straight after tea. Challenge yourself. It's worth the risk, I think.
Leach to Chandimal quietly in defence. To the ball that was a fraction shorter from Leach. Plays it out towards short mid off, and there's no run. Feature of a lot of spinners in this series. The sweeper on the offside, on the deep cover boundary. Chandimal waits. 43 not out. 157 for 3. That's tossed up, driven. It's a tumbling save by Crawley. Short extra cover, there's no run, it's the end of the over, and it's 157 for 3, and Sri Lanka was 7 for 2, but they've made decent progress since then, and they have a measure of control over the game at the moment. My attention is drawn to events in Adelaide, where Alex Hales is closing in on 100 in that Big Bash match. He's 98 not out from 50 balls. There are a lot of people saying, why is he not being forgiven? Why is he not back in that England T20 side? And there's no doubt he's good enough, but then misdemeanors before the World Cup and long memories, and he's still in exile. It seems from this distance, away from the World Cup as well, what are you talking about, a year and a half now, that seems pretty harsh. And Hales has got 100. Just to tell you, he's smeared one over deep backward point. So 102 off 51 balls. Here's Anderson, meanwhile, going into bowl to Matthews outside the off stump. Very different sort of action going on in Gaul compared to what's going on in Adelaide. Sri Lanka looking to make the most of winning the toss on the first day of this second Test match. Anderson walking back very slowly, mopping his brow in these hot, humid conditions. Do you think Sri Lankan conditions are the toughest to play in Alistair?
I think historically they are. I think it's always one of those when you go there, you're told it's tough. I can remember a couple of days in Abu Dhabi where it probably got hotter, but I think the relentless nature of the humidity.
Anderson bowls to Matthews outside the off stump, no stroke.
You know, the humidity is the one which gets you there. That kind of I keep calling it unrelenting heat until probably about now. It's just probably cool now. That hour after lunch, I think, is the worst. When you've 2 hours the first morning, you're okay, you're getting out there buzzing, playing a test match, then you come back, sit down in the air conditioning room for 40 minutes, then you go back out. The heat just, as I keep saying, just hits you like an oven. And I actually remember, Matt Pryor's a big sweater in our team when we were there, and he tried to keep it without pads on because he wanted to cool himself down.
This is Anderson going into bowl to Matthews. Matthews plays the ball on fifth stump, defending it towards mid-off, and there's no run.
Yeah, so he kept without pads on, and it was all a good idea to keep him cool until he got one on the shin, second bounce, I think, in Colombo. So the pads went back on as he had a massive egg on him. But I think he weighed his trousers after a session, and they weighed 5 kilos. That's how wet they were. That's how much sweat it was. It was an incredible amount he was actually having to put into his body to allow him to play without cramping up. So yeah, that's kind of just, I suppose, the nature of it. That's how hot it actually is.
Anderson bowls outside the off stump. This patience game with Angelo Matthews. Matthews happy to defend it. Just talking about the weather, some dark clouds are built up. There's a suggestion of a post-tea shower or even thunderstorm. And we saw them build up the other day. It was worse than this, actually, much worse. It looked like, the end of the day's play on the 4th day, but amazingly, it was almost there was some sort of force field keeping them away from depositing over the ground. Anyway, those clouds are building up. Anderson bowls, finds the outer part of Matthews' bat. They go for a quick single though, square of the wicket on the offside. Chandimal responds to the call, and Sri Lanka move to 158 for 3 in the partnership to 82.
You have been talking about this shower all day though, haven't you? From the first time you came on this morning, Simon said there's going to be a shower in the afternoon.
No, I'm just saying what was on the app. But we'll wait and see. But anyway, there's a possibility of it now. It looked early today. It was clear blue skies, lovely weather, but the sun has disappeared behind the cloud for now. It's one of the features of the weather in Sri Lanka. It builds up, and then you get that afternoon downpour. You sometimes do. 158 for 3. Anderson looks as though he mind a downpour at the moment, sweating profusely, moves in now and bowls to Chandimal, and Chandimal knocked it into the onside towards mid-wicket, and there's no run. Picked up by Sibley. It is the end of the over. Anderson bowling in the low 80s, that was 83 miles an hour. His figures 12 overs, 3 for 15. Talking of Alex Hales, you can follow that game if you want to. BBC Sport website's got all the details there. I see Carlos is bowling as well, and the commentary on the Big Bash will continue after this test match, building up towards the knockout stages of the Big Bash, and we'll bring you the knockout games. 5 teams qualify out of the 8. They play for 6 weeks and 5 teams qualify. 158 for 3 is the Sri Lanka score in Galle. That wonderful setting, and the fort in the background down by the sea. It's a shame there are no spectators allowed in to watch it, but then we're all feeling that about all sorts of sports. Perhaps the players are as well. Matthews on 65. Waits for Jack Leach. He's into his 13th over, no wicket for 41. Ball outside the off stump, draws Matthews forward. Just a hint of purchase there. Matthews getting it on the upper part of the bat, prodding forward, goes away into the offside, and there's no run. Joss Butler, I can see behind the stumps, looks to be growing a beard. Here is Leach into bowl, and Matthews goes back and guides it towards extra cover. There's a tumbling save, and there is no run. It's all about keepers, Alistair, on a day like today. When you actually in a situation like this, you might just get that one chance. It's your one moment of the day, and you're crouching down all day in the heat, helmet on, especially with the spinners going in. Leach goes in now and bowls. That's lofted away into the onside over mid-on. It's going out towards the wide long on boundary, scatters some birds, and that's gone away for 4 off the bat of Angelo Matthews, who goes to his shirt number. He's 69. And it's 162 for 3.
Good shot from Matthews, gone over mid-on, kind of against the spin if there is any. Didn't quite get it though, just for that second. The keeper, Josh Butler and Joe Root, probably, you heard the shout to catch as he went over Sam Curran's head at mid-on, but no chance. England won't mind that. Trying to get a bit of risk reward from one of these two, knowing how important this partnership is.
Leach bowls, a bit shorter this time, and Matthews is able to rock back and crack it square with the wicket out towards Sibley on the deep cover boundary. And there's another run, 163 for 3.
Just going back to, as you said, the wicket keeping before that shot, I think the hard thing is if nothing happens. You might not even hear the subcontinent. Actually, well, Jimmy's bowling a bit wider. Most of the time you bowl quite straight, and you might not touch the ball. 4 or 5 overs in terms of taking the ball at all. You might take the odd one, and then suddenly that low, and it'll be a low sharp nick because you'll be standing quite close, and they're the ones you've got to take. Or this one where Chandimal suddenly out of nowhere will dance down the wicket.
Leach bowls, Chandimal goes back and hammers it, but straight to cover, and there's no run. Of course, it gets highlighted because in a day where wickets are precious, you get that one missed chance, and inevitably the focus is on it.
It's the same as slip as well, isn't it? You don't look like getting a chance to slip it all day, and then you normally get one right at the end of the day, which is they're the ones.
Chandimal defends.
They're the ones which you've got to take, and you need to take them because of how, as you say, how precious a wicket is in the first couple of days or first innings of a subcontinent test match.
Hale's out for 110 from 56 balls in that Big Bash match. What's it like? I mean, it's fascinating now, fielding it slip all day. You might not touch the ball, as you say, you might not touch the ball at all off the bat for 5 hours, and suddenly you're expected to grab a low one. How do you keep that concentration going?
It's tough. Actually, a couple of times towards the end we swapped. So if Joe Root there was captain, obviously there would be at slip all day. He sent, and I remember swapping a couple of times and going, right, I'm going to have half an hour at mid-off. Certainly in a couple of those latter series drawn on captaincy, I came out of there just to freshen myself up, because as you said, you get in a rhythm and not touching the ball and nothing. I mean, you don't expect it, and then that one chance comes, and you almost get that electric hands, kind of the shock of it coming to you, and I call it electric hands because you tense up, and also to be a really good slip catcher, you really need to be relaxed and let the ball kind of hit hard hands but melt into that hand. So definitely a bit of swap. Maybe James Anderson's a very good catcher, though I'm not sure he would want to stand at slip after bowling too many balls in this heat. So that is an option of varying it.
Bess goes in and bowls to Matthews, who clips this away into the onside. They're off for a single. It's picked up at cover. Throw comes in over the bails, and at the moment Sri Lanka look very comfortable. Bess coming on at 163 for 3, 164 for 3 now. There's nothing there for the spinners today. I think we were expecting something. Even slow turn on the first day, but there's very little deviation. It's like a normal test match pitch, if you like, how you'd expect one to start, but you expect a bit more in Gaul. Here's Bess bowling, and Chandimal turns that away through the mid-wicket area. Again, Sibley comes in rather waddling run, sending return to Butler, and they're through for another single, 165 for 3. They need something to go their way to change the course of the day's play at the moment. Matthews and Chandimal playing very well, using their experience and class, and putting together what looks to be at the moment a century partnership for this 4th wicket. Sri Lanka making the most this time of winning the toss and batting first. Bess is in his 16th over, 0 for 42, bowls to Matthews, and Bess thinks he was going to get through there. Matthews is right back onto his stumps, gets the bat down in time, plays it firmly into the onside towards mid-wicket, and there is no run.
This partnership been very controlled, hasn't it, Simon? No, it just looks everything. They're operating probably the 2nd or 3rd gear, and if they can just continue to potter along or milk him, as you'd milk the bowlers as long as they can, they'll put Sri Lanka in a really good position at the end of the day one.
Bess bowls a wide one down the leg side. That one spun a bit, but it was very wide and taken by Butler. He's ignored completely by Matthews, almost as if he was in a one-day game. So I'll just have the wide for that, thank you very much. Bess into bowl, and forward goes Matthews, a stabbing defensive shot back down the pitch, and firmly Bess picks up to his right hand side, and there is no run. Yeah, Sri Lanka two most experienced players, two most experienced batsmen, are just doing what they need to do on this first day, frittering away the opportunity. Best in to complete the over, bowls to Matthews. Matthews goes back, nudges into the leg side, finds the gap again, as we've seen so often this series. Bairstow in the deep picks up and sends in the return, and they are through for a single. So that is the end of the over, and it is a time for a change at 166 for 3. More thoughts from you, Alistair, and then you've got Dan Norcross joining you.
Are you waving to talk, Dan, or are you just...
Well, Simon doesn't often know who it is he's handing over to, so I give him a little cue by waving.
I'm trying to find the rotor, Dan, on my phone. No,
yes.
It took me a while to get there.
Or you could look at the Zoom meeting that we're all on and see an empty Agger's chair.
I could do, yeah.
And by a process of elimination, work it out.
I got the scorecard of the match-up at the moment. You're right, Dan, you're right. As always.
Sorry, Simon. Andy.
Well, we're talking about Alex Hales, who's just been out for 110, and where he stands in this year's Big Bash. He's the top run scorer now, following that innings, averaging 38. Strike rate of 165. That's the best strike rate of the 29 players who've scored 200 or more runs in this tournament. So he's had a superb tournament. And we're also talking before tea about players who've made bad starts to their career. Talking about Graham Gooch's debut pair. Marvin Atapatu, who scored a double 100 on this ground against England back in 2001 at the start of a series that England went on to win, began with a pair of ducks in his first test, then had to wait a couple of years for his second test, got 0 and 1, had to wait another couple of years for his third test, got another pair, 1 run in 6 innings. Finally made his way back into the team 6.5 years after his debut, went on to have a fine career and score 6 double hundreds. So good things come to those who wait.
It's not bad, is it?
So he averaged, what did he average in his first, how many test matches?
His first 3 tests over 6 years, he averaged 0.16.
0.16, 1 run in 6 innings. And then 200. I mean, he still didn't average 30 after he got that double 100. Which is quite the thing.
What did he finish on? What was the average he finished on?
39, 5,500 runs, 1600s, including those 6 doubles, 17 other 50s.
Not bad at all. Anderson starts a new over with a short mid-on in, and he just gets Angelo Matthews just turned round ever so slightly. Anderson has been the high point for England today. He's bowled the first few overs of the first session, the first few overs of the second session, and now the first few overs of the third session. The question I put to you, Alistair Cook, as a former captain of England, are you looking to get some overs out of him at the back end of today when a new ball may become available, provided England get through their overs, of course?
I was just looking at the overs. They might. I'm trying to work out why they've been so slow when there hasn't been many breaks.
It's very hot, I suppose. It's pushed that into the offside, up to wide mid off, and there's no run. I mean, we used to ask that all the time while you were captain, but you would always explain to us that, you know, it's tough out there.
Yeah, but not often in the subcontinent I was that slow. But I mean, in England we're just bowling seamers and there's DRS and there's always someone moving behind the bowl. There was someone moving behind the bowler's arm, but they bowled a lot of spin. But anyway, I'm not going to be one of those jumping on the bandwagon. Who's always moaning about the overrate? Someone's always moaning.
Aggers gets very vexed about the overrate.
He loves the overrate thing. But I was just more thinking about Atapatu. Like, if he got in, he hurt you by the sounds of it. But if you're not only averaging.
Punched off the back foot into the offside. Think of a single, but it's not there as Lawrence moves swiftly to his left in the covers to field on the bounce. No run.
Not only average, I don't mean averaging 40, but you got 6. You say 6 double hundreds and 1700s.
It's feast or famine, isn't it?
Yeah.
If you got 1600s in all, including those 6 doubles.
Yeah, but that's still decent numbers. 16 test hundreds. So I think if you got in, he was going to make you pay. But
get him early.
The good old Make sure you know when he's what's the old, I can't remember the expression now, my mind's just gone blank. I've been looking at someone's sweaty jot strap on the balcony.
Yeah, there's a lot of cricketers' gear, trousers, shirts hanging on the balcony rails outside the dress changing room, pushed into the onside I should say, by Matthews. A full delivery, but Leach dives to his left well at mid-on. England's fielding is still on it in this searing heat at Gore.
Yeah, I think this will be Jimmy's last, actually. I think this will be his third over. He'll probably want one more just to prove everyone, but he won't. He'll bowl this one on maybe a 4 over spell, and then I was thinking that you'd probably have a few overs the new ball. Maybe if there was going to be 90 overs, have 6 maybe with it, just to change the batsman up. Was certainly with the end of the play coming.
Anderson in outside the off stump, tailing back in a little. We haven't seen an awful lot of reverse swing or any great deviation. There's no run, 166 for 3. But the thing about Anderson is that, I suppose, by the weight of his reputation and also by the fact that he seldom misses his length, the batsman's just always cautious, always a little bit suspicious of what might happen, and I don't know whether that means that Anderson gets away with some balls, or whether it's just the remorseless accuracy with which he bowls. He's in now, short run, clipped into the onside, can't beat the fielder at short mid-on, end of the over. Curran does the fielding, there is no run, 166 for 3. Was that another maiden, Andy? 14 overs, 3 for 15. Jimmy Anderson.
13 overs. Let's not overstate things.
Say 13. I'm sorry. We've got to the point in the day, and people didn't believe me, but when we had a production meeting before the start of the series, I think you were on it, Alistair.
Actually, I generally wasn't on this one, but
were you?
No.
We were. I mentioned that because we're commentating from the Oval. The TMS box said the sun will come up. The gleaming South London sun, and I was poo-pooed for this, the assumption being that there's no sun in London, it's just grey and miserable the whole time. Well, it is now piercing, and we do have kind of makeshift forward in defence comes Chandimal, pushed into the offside, no run. Let's give you a little insight.
No expense spared, I think.
We've got a few bits of sort of dark, what are we calling it? Plastic.
Tinted plastic, which had been brilliantly arranged. Best in, driven back to him by an advancing Chandimal, but straight to the bowler, there's no run. And that has slightly diffused the light, but there are certain bits that are not really visible too much on the TV, so bear with us. 166 for 3, I'm pretty sure that's the score. 11 runs have come in this session. Bess is in, Chandimal drives firmly. It's a half stop, good half stop at mid-off. May not, unfortunately for him, prevent the boundary as Anderson trots to his left from long on to tidy up, and Chandimal picks up 2 more. He's using his feet nicely here, isn't he, Alistair? He's showing intent, moves to 46. Yeah, a little shuffle, he didn't come too far down, kept his feet parallel to keep the shape, and he was trying to beat extra covers, kind of right hand, but Sankaran, good diving stop. Don't mind it too much. If that just gripped in that drying surface, that could have been that chance for Joss Buttler, but Chandimal played it well.
Straighter and full, pushed back up the wicket, and Best fields off his own bowling, 168 for 3.
When I did turn up into this box at 4 o'clock this morning and saw the bin bags lining, I thought, what the hell is? I didn't know what was. I was hardly awake anyway, but what the hell was going on? But now it makes perfect sense, Dan.
Tossed up, pushed into the offside, and they'll find a little gap there where Chandimal gets a single. 47 he moves to 169 for 3. Well, we have our producer Henry Moran to thank, because he did all the planning. He sourced this roll of black tinted plastic. He found a knife, and he got me to hold one end of it while he stuck it up. So, fair play.
With sellotape, pretty much, isn't it?
Yeah. Short, punched off the back foot nicely by Matthews. He's found the gap to the left of mid-off, and he's not really bothering to run. He's just jogged to the other end. He's timed it gloriously and picked up 4. It's all that Best did wrong. They just got his length fractionally wrong, a little bit too short, and Matthews, who's in and playing really well, was able to rock back, pick his spot, pick up the boundary. He moves to 76, 173 for 3, partnership 97. Alistair, you can have a little break and go and minister to 5 Live and Radio 4 and whoever else demands you, and we're going to let Michael back in. Hello, Michael. I can barely see you because I'm afraid of the sunshine, so just give us a wave.
I am here, Dan. We've had a few issues with the lights, mainly because Simon turned the lights off just to try and get a little bit of peace and a little bit of relaxation.
Peace?
Yeah, just a little bit. He only had a couple of winks, Nothing.
I see.
Only a minute or two. That's enough for Simon.
We've got
He's
a
now-
4-poster bed laid out there for
He
him, and a
would
hot
like
water
one.
bottle.
He's back though. He's gone to get a little bit of a brew. He's got what looks like a.
Has he made it himself, though? Mike,
Yes,
remember the last Test match, he was struggling to work out how the hot water tap worked.
How to do that now?
Jimmy Anderson starts a new over, and forward in defence comes Chandimal. Slightly hesitantly, gets the bottom of the bat, pushes it the offside. Crawley feels, Lawrence feels, I should say, there's no run.
And believe it or not, Dan, I'm sure you will. It is quite easy getting the hot
Yes, it
water
is, isn't
out
it?
there.
Yeah.
It is quite simple. We made a very simple job very difficult last week. It took us until the 4th day to realise how to do it, which is just press it down, it goes red, and you press it down again and you turn it left, and it just comes out. Not that difficult.
Yeah, I don't think we're going to be particularly good in an apocalypse, are we? That's defended from the crease this time by Chandimal. Full delivery, back at the wicket, there's no run. 173 for 3.
These figures are ridiculous. Jimmy Anderson, 13.2 overs, 3 for 15. Remarkable figures on a flat road. It's a beauty for batting on. Not over-attacking, so there aren't that many gaps, really, and particularly to rotate. You've only got kind of one on the hip to square leg on the boundary for your single. Doesn't bowl too many on the hip.
Chandimal waits for Anderson and then comes forward in languid defence and pushes into the covers. Lawrence Field says no run. I've got to ask you, Michael, because I know you were watching Alex Hales in the early part of his innings. I got to watch him towards the latter part of his innings. 110 in, was it 54 balls in the end?
Yeah, fantastic.
What is he? Is there a number of runs that he could score that would force his way back in, or is there nothing he can do? He's the leading run scorer in the BBL. 173 for 3. Anderson in. Chandimal pushes off the back foot up to mid-off. Woodfield says no run.
I don't know if there is an amount of runs. I mean, he's a brilliant player, and I just hope that time's a healer. You know, I know that Owen Morgan's a fantastic England captain, and he has made so many great decisions, and he gives off the impression that Alex Hales has broken his kind of trust, his bubble. But I hope that Owen realises that time is a healer, and he should be brought back in on cricketing merit. If he over the as he has done since that episode.
Anderson in. Chandimal waits for this full straight ball and then just works it into the onside straight to mid wicket. There's no run. Yeah,
everything I hear about the teams that he's played for and the dressing rooms that he's been in, that he has slightly changed and he's a bit more mature. So hopefully we'll be seeing Alex Hales in an England jersey. I just get a sense with Owen Morgan that he's quite stubborn. Good leaders generally are. And it wouldn't surprise me. It may take for Owen Morgan to be kind of pushed aside before we see Alex Hales back in an England jersey playing white ball cricket. We'll have to wait and see.
Here is Anderson into Chandimal, who pushes forward in defence again to short extra cover again. No run. 15 runs have come from 14 Anderson overs with 3 wickets. 173 for 3. Chandimal 47. Matthews 76. Andy Zoltzman, you're also bathed in glorious South London summer sunshine.
Yes, indeed, here in lovely Streatham. 15 runs from 14 overs. 8 of them came in Anderson's 10th. So just 7 runs in his other 13 overs. Just 8 scoring shots so far on this followed, as we were talking about earlier on, Broad's 17 overs for 14 the other day. So you need more bowlers in their mid to late 30s.
So just back to Hales, while we've got you, Michael. There's a World T20 coming up this year, and Owen Morgan's going to want to be captain for that. But we have sort of World T20s as back to back. Do you sense that perhaps Morgan wants to be the captain who's got a side to the World 50 Over Cup, World T20 Cup, and would call it a day at that point? Or do you see absolutely that there is no sort of sense of retirement on the horizon for Morgan? Well,
the whisper was in 2019 that he was considering it. That's just a whisper. Whether that's true, I'm not too sure. He's playing well enough, so I don't see why he'd want to retire anytime soon. The next T20 World Cup's in a few months' time, really, 9 months, and then another one the following year. So
Leach has come in to replace Bess, and his first ball's right on the money, full straight, doesn't turn, but Matthews defends into the offside. There's no run.
I mean, any player in the England white ball team that has a run of 4 or 5 games of not performing, it stands out like a sore thumb because there's that many options for every position. So I guess it'd take a couple of series for Owen Morgan to lose form, lose his rhythm.
Leach in, round the wicket, a little bit of turn then, just a hint of it as Matthews plays off the back foot and squirts the ball backward a square on the offside. A sprawling wood prevents any run. 173 for 3.
I don't see that coming anytime soon. He's playing well enough, really contributing with the bat. So you'd think he'd be the captain for the next couple.
Leach in, tossed up, driven back to him by Matthews. Just for a moment there was a hint that he wasn't quite on the pitch of the ball. All in the air, ever so slightly, clutching at straws perhaps from an England point of view, because this partnership between the two senior batters in the Sri Lankan lineup is approaching 100. They've been there a long time now. Leach is in again, round the wicket, works into the onside, finds the gap, gets a single for it as Crawley does the fielding. 174 for 3. So in your view then it would need to be a change of heart from Morgan, because after those 2 World T20s there won't be one for a little while, and then Alex Hales isn't the youngest.
Yeah, or the selectors have got to be stronger. They want him in and just say, look, to Owen Morgan, you're the captain. We obviously take everything you say as
Leach in, tossed up. Oh, that beats the outside edge. That's a genuine play and miss from Chandimal. That drew Chandimal forward. It was on about a 4th, 5th stump line, and it didn't go on with the arm. It did, that turned. That's the first one we've seen turn for a little while. I wonder if this pitch is just starting to show.
Do you reckon it's gone, Dan?
Don't think gone.
Pitch is gone as played.
Don't think it's gone, but going full forward in defence comes Chandimal, plays back to the bowler. There's no run, but there was a first sign of ball beating bat from a spinner for a while there. End of the over, 174 for 3. Chandimal 47. Matthews 77.
Yeah, I mean, as I was saying, I mean, the selectors are absolutely right to take what Owen Morgan is saying very seriously, because he's done an incredible job. But there sometimes comes a time where you as a selection group goes, wait a minute, there's a player out there that could actually improve us, and that's very difficult to do in this England white ball setup. He's playing so well that you wouldn't want to think that Owen Morgan can just purely on his own say, I'm not having that individual player. If there's 2 or 3 of the selectors and management going, come on, we can manage him, we can bring him back in, you'd hope that could be the case. I've watched him in the big bash. I mean, the wickets are good in Australia, they suit his style, that kind of bounce. He's so good at kind of climbing into it over extra cover, back past backward point, through mid-wicket, the cut shot, the pull shot, plays spin nicely.
Anderson in, driven straight to Curran, who's at a very short straight mid-on. On the ground, no run.
So the wickets are pure in Australia, but in India in a T20 World Cup they're going to be flat. So you're going to need big scores and players that can obviously get the big hundreds in T20 cricket, and he's certainly a player that can do that. I certainly have him in that. If you're picking a squad of 16 and you say 7 or 8 batters in that, you've got to say that Alex Hales is in the best 7 or 8 batters that we have in T20 cricket in England. So for that reason, I'd be bringing him back in.
Anderson, who's into his 15th over. He's in, that's down the leg side. Little flick out from Matthews. He was lucky not to get just a little tickle on that through to Butler. There's no run. A rare ball directed down the leg side from Anderson. I think.
How dare he?
Well, his pitch map, I should think, shows a really hot spot on an unhittable length.
It's probably the hardest ball for a batter to hit against Jimmy Anderson, because your eyes are just not geared on anything down that leg side. You're just kind of honing in on around off stump just outside and making sure that you're transferring your weight back into that full of length.
He's in again. He's just looked at the ball with some disgust as Matthews drives but gets a thick inside edge, and it runs to Curran and then bounces off Curran and runs to mid-on, and there's no run. 174 for 3. This has surely got to be Anderson's last over in this spell. How many has he bowled in this? Is this his 4th or 5th over in this spell, Andy? More?
Well, it's his 5th over since T. He bowled 2 overs from one end, then switched ends, and came straight back on the other end. So technically, it's his 3rd in this spell, but basically it's his 5th.
I mean, I'm reminded that he bowled a spell at Sydney in 2017-18 Ashes, and it was the hottest day in Sydney in over 70 years as Anderson is in down the leg side, and Butler sprawls to his left and stops the ball on the bounce. There's no run. It was 47 degrees in the shade. I think you'll remember that day, Michael. And England's cause was lost, really. Australia were way ahead, and Anderson bowled 7 or 8 overs from one end in incredible heat, and he went for next to no runs. Had Sean Marsh dropped, seemed to happen an awful lot in that series. You sort of wonder where he got the stamina from when it'll be 35-40 degrees out in Gaul, and he's bowling another long spell. He's in, that's played away from his body by Matthews into the offside, but a little bit shorter on this occasion. Straight to Lawrence in the infield. There's no run, and he's about to bowl another maiden if this ball is not scored off.
Well, I think it's because his action is so efficient. His run up, he just knows his body inside out. His game, his kind of release points, you name it, he just knows what he's doing, and it's poetry, isn't it? Let's be honest. When you're watching Jimmy Anderson, it's poetry in action. It's just something that he makes looks very, very easy, and it certainly isn't.
Yeah, it has been beautiful from him today. Now he's driven off the last ball of the over, and a sprawling half stop can't prevent a run. That breaks a series of dots from Jimmy Anderson. That might be his last over in the spell, you imagine. 1 run from it. Matthews 78, Anderson 3 for 16 from 15 overs. Chandimal on 47. Sri Lanka 175 for 3. This partnership for the 4th wicket now worth 99 runs. I think Andy Zaltzman's going to come in, and then I'm going to hand over for the next 20 minutes to Jonathan Agnew.
On Anderson's economy rate in his last 50 tests, he's taken 190 wickets, average 20.8. His economy rate 2.37 per over, and you compare that with early in his career, in his first 25 tests up to June 2008. His economy rate was 3.8 per over, an extraordinary improvement. Michael, you captained him early in his career. I don't know if you can say that's changed in his bowling as he evolved.
Well, I thought it was Leach first of all, continuing his bowling on the off stump. These two have put on 99. And give the single there for the 100 partnership, but it wasn't to be. Leach was able to field.
Well, I think Jimmy Anderson's bowling's changed every year, Andy. I think he's brought different skills, different variations. You think back to when he started, we just bowled big booming outswingers.
Leach bowls short, is at the 100 partnership. It is guided away off the back foot, past an egret in mid-air, as it were, fielded spectacularly by Bess out there on the boundary at deep cover. He really did move there. They've taken 2 runs, and that'll post the 100 partnership between Messrs Matthews and Chandimal. They played very well too. They haven't given any chances. Player miss a moment ago where the ball spun past the outside edge. It was legitimate spin as well, that. But, they have played very well indeed. 101 now, and Leach on his way goes in bowls. It's nudged into the leg side, and Leach can field. Interesting, you're talking about Alex Hales, in that the press conference yesterday, Ed Smith announcing the India tour, mainly at least. As Leach bowls again, it's short, and he can go back and steer that into exactly the same place. Another chase for Bess, who gets there more easily this time with a fire engine behind him. And they take another one, 178 for 3. Actually, it was Stefan Schemmelt, our colleague at BBC Sport, who asked the question. It was quite a pointed question about Hales and whether it was simply Owen Morgan digging his heels in about why Hales wasn't selected. And Ed Smith said that's, I think he used the word unfair to suggest that. Was his reply. He said the captain, gets lots of things his own way. Here's a low full toss. It's flicked away out to square leg. Talking generally in terms of team selections, but he said the captain's input mainly is about the final 11. So we as selectors select a squad. So, the question was asked.
Well, if that's the case, I guess they're getting it wrong. In my view. Because the selectors aren't picking one of the best players.
81 not out to Matthews, who goes back now. Appeal for a catch, but went past the edge. Papalagruja is shaking his head. There's not going to be a review, I don't think. He's trying to force that off the back foot. Root's still questioning whether or not they should review this, actually, because maybe Root heard something behind the stumps that Leach didn't. Ticker's gone. That's the end of that 15 seconds. Root hasn't done.
Yeah, it's getting to that time of day, isn't it, where England just, I don't think in Sri Lanka on these kind of wickets you ever feel that you're going to get too many wickets because it's so flat.
Yeah.
But you go searching, don't you, thinking, can't looking for a DRS that's not quite there. You get excited that the ball's beaten the outside edge. It's twice gone past the outside edge inside 2 overs. Not seen anything like the amount of balls beating the outside edge like we saw in the first Test match. Interesting though that about Alex Hales, isn't it?
Yeah.
I guess that they said that.
Yeah, he did.
But
He was quite keen, I think, to stress that it's not just a question of Owen Morgan saying Hales can't get back in the side. Is I think what he was saying.
You can't tell me, I guess, that Alex Hales isn't in England's best 8 T20 batters in the country.
Well, you'd have thought so.
So it has to be something other.
There's no ground big enough for him, is there?
No.
He's in form as he clearly is at the moment. I think you have to ask too about, given that he's doing it in a sort of in a world stage situation against bowlers who he could well be encountering in the T20. I mean, would they want to bowl at him? Yeah, I think that's part of the question, isn't it? You sort of pick the players, obviously, that the opposition fear.
Yeah, and also you've been around English cricket for so many years that we've always had fallouts and individuals that have been on the naughty step, but time should be a good healer.
Yes.
And I think he's had his time now.
Yes. I don't think, he obviously made a stupid mistake, but I don't think he's a disruptive character. Here's Wood, and the first ball's flicked away to a straight mid-wicket. And there's no run. 179 for 3. Chandimal a couple away from his half-century.
I think what's important, I guess,
I just to say, there's a flat line, I think, going past the that edge, so Root is justified in not reviewing that, or Leach, or whoever made the decision. Breeze getting up a little bit. It's just tugging at Jack's shirt there as we're looking at him. He's got his sun hat turned up rather like a pirate's hat. And, waiting for his first wicket. So 7 for 2 seems a long time ago now. In goes Wood, bowls short, doesn't get up very high. Chandimal can turn it from about his waist.
Yeah, and also with Alex Hales, because if it is that the England management and the team, Owen wants Alex to act in a different way to what he was acting during his time, particularly in that last year. There was a few things that happened. You go back to the Bristol incident and Ben Stokes, he was involved in that.
Yeah.
Are the things that they're kind of relaying to Alex Hales that he needs to improve upon? As long as they're giving him the information, it's like you've got to improve upon X, Y, and Z, and if you do so, we'll be looking at you.
Yep.
And I think it's important that you give these players a chance to get better, whether it's on the field, off the field.
Wood again, a big leap, and he bowls just outside off stump. Nice length, and Chandimal leans forward. Bat and pad absolutely glued together. Lovely straight bat placed to mid-off.
I think in my time playing, I think we did leave some players out into the wilderness too much. I look back on a few players that we left out, never really talked to, never kind of gave them any feedback, never gave them a way back into the side. And I think we're in better times. I think now with the amount of management coaches around the country, around the world really, that England can talk to.
Yeah. Wood again runs past the umpire. That's on the leg side and whipped away for a single. Chandimal goes to 49. Also young men. I know you don't think it at the time when you're playing, but in your 20s you make mistakes, and anyone who didn't do, I'm not sure had much of a life.
You make mistakes pretty much every day of your life.
Exactly.
Maybe 1 or 2 more when you're younger, but
180 for 3. Matthews looks around.
Yeah, Matthew, I was just about to say, there was something about his eyes when he came out today. You had a sense early, didn't you, in Angelo Matthews' innings, that he just knew that this was a pitch.
And goes Wood, bowls to, that wasn't his best shot. He was looking to drive that into the offside, but a little bit lazy there. Didn't quite get into position. It may have come back a little bit, to be fair to Wood, but ended up in the onside, and Matthews, I suspect, is the only way to talk to himself for a moment, so come on, keep concentrating.
Yeah, you just got a sense early in his innings that he's played at goal so many times, and he knows what a good surface it generally is, and he probably thought that the first test was probably not a surface that he would have played too often on. It was a little bit, probably a bit grubby, a bit worse than normal. Whereas today, inside the first few balls, he probably thought, oh, here we go.
Yep.
This is normal goal.
Wood again bowls. It's a pretty soft ball now, I think. It's just not getting up at all, really. That was played for about knee-high by Matthews on the back foot. Wood's tearing in, is giving it everything. As always, he's bowled his heart out. He's having a conversation there with Jimmy Anderson and pulling a bit of a face. But it's hard work with a soft ball, a little bit hint of reverse swing there. I saw Jimmy Anderson polishing the ball hard during the course of that over, and also holding it with the tips of his fingers so to get no sweat on it. But it's only just a little trace of movement, really. Dick Weller's to come, and then Mendes. He's got a 300 in first-class cricket to his name, so obviously no mug. Is an off-spinner as well. Pereira can bat, Lagmar can bat a bit. And then down to the nether regions, as it were, of the order. 180 for 3. New ball is 15 overs away. So Leach tosses this up, chopped away off the back foot. Chandimal get his half-century. Man who had to step up to be captain. And Karuna Ratne was injured. He's done pretty well so far. He had 28, 20, and now he's 50 not out. He's got a little touch of the gloves from Angelo Matthews. I don't know what the politics are between some of these Sri Lankan players, because they chop and change the captaincy so much, and Angelo Matthews was out of favour for quite some time. But he's back in the fold again now. Good tap of the gloves there. I think Chandimal replaced Matthews, didn't he? This is tossed up, played off the front foot by Chandimal. Leach fields. 182 for 3. Run rate just dropped a little from where we were last time I was sitting here. It was 3 and over then, but it's down to 2.79 now. Leach moves it, tosses that up. Nice attractive drive from Chandimal. Finds a man quite close in there at short extra cover. Typically, all the fielders look a bit grubby. It's sweaty and it's dusty.
Looks smelly, doesn't it?
It just, yeah. Goes Leach bowls, and that's driven into the offside, but a diving save there prevents them from scoring a run. I think you give each other a bit of space on the bus to the hotel. Just dusty and grubby and sweaty. Hard work out there, diving around. Chris Wokes, so there's the haircut we were hearing about earlier from Ollie Robinson, who seems a bit of a star with the Clippers. Chandimal forward, plays back to Leach, and Wokes rather likes his hairdo. He's very well groomed, isn't he? So he's taken a bit of a leap of faith there, I think, in going down the Clipper route with Ollie Robinson. It is quite severe, but not a bad job at all. He's taken on the role of team barber. In goes Leach bowls, played off the front foot by Chandimal in defensive fashion, fielded again in the offside. And that's the end of the over. 182 for 3, 66 overs gone now, so 14 to go until the next new ball is available. An email from Martin Curtis regarding Bridge on the River Kwai. I called it Over the River Kwai. I'm sorry earlier on. This is obviously it is Bridge on the River Kwai. I visited a good friend from Gaul, Shamila Gamage, who played cricket for us at Alvechurch Cricket Club in Worcestershire for his wedding. As part of his wedding preparations, took a friend and me on a brilliant whitewater rafting trip along the river where they filmed it. Apparently they built a complete bridge which was then blown up in the movie. All that's left some metal ruins on the bank of the river which we could see floating past. Chimala is well known in Gaul and Sri Lanka. He's one of a select few who took a wicket with his first ball in Test cricket against Bangladesh. I remember the name Gamage. Anyway, there we are. So Bridge on the River Kwai, filmed between Colombo and Kandy.
Chandimal's half century came from his 110th ball, 1-6 and 4 fours.
There's a low full toss, which is flicked away down to fine leg. A bit of a gimme there. And, Wood maybe trying to spear in a Yorker, got it slightly wrong. He's given away a nice easy boundary there for Matthews to flick away down to fine leg.
Sorry, I was caught out by the overstarting rather.
You want to watch this, I know. You want to watch these, Andy, see? 1 minute you flick from a nice shot of a boat bobbing around on the ocean to either a very cunningly disguised replay or action suddenly like that. I'll watch this ball and you can tell us what you're going to say. Wood again with a slip, rushes up, bowls short this time. Matthews defends it.
Yes, Channimal's half century is his 31st score of 50 or more in Test cricket, 1100s amongst those. Only his second time he's reached 50 against England in 14 innings. The other was a fine century in Chester Street in a Test match in 2016. And the century partnership between these two is the fourth they have shared in Test cricket.
Thank you. 186 for 3. Lovely email from Rosie Black. Hello, Rosie. In West Sussex comes Wood, tearing in the fork behind him, a big leap, and he bowls, and that's again that off cutter that he bowls every now and then, but he'll concede a run, 2 in fact, out to deep mid wicket. Sri Lanka move on to 188 for 3. So Rosie, our 12-year-old Labradoodle Molly, frequently wakes us up in the early hours wanting to go outside, so we often have the radio on, listen to the BBC in the early hours, and it's such a joy to have TMS back. My partner's a farmer, so he's up about 5:30 most mornings. What a lightweight. 5:30? God, it's a lion. He kindly brings me a cup of tea before he leaves for work. Today's my day off, a lazy start, sipping tea, sitting in bed, listening to the commentary. Listening now, I can use up my discarded sourdough starter, baking granary bread and crackers. This sounds wonderful. Sun streaming through the window, the garden's white with frost, cup of tea in hand, perfect morning. 188 for 3. Wood bowls outside the off stump, forced by Matthews out to mid-off. It's bread making day here, or at least tonight. It's lovely to get up to the smell. Have you a bread maker, Michael?
No, I don't. I just go to the shop.
Oh, you know when, well, as you're doing at the moment, to get up early, 3:15, go downstairs, and there is the smell waiting of fresh bread.
What are you going for today, Aggers? What you putting?
Well, I'm
in the loaf?
experimenting with at the moment. I've found I think an oilseed one. I'll have a bit of a go with that. I'm only a machine man. I think Rosie sounds to me as if she might be proper kneader of dough and that sort of thing. In goes Wood, bowls, and it's pulled away down towards long leg. 2 men there. One of them beats the other. It's Bess who fields.
So basically, you just throw a load of ingredients in a tin, stick it in the machine, press play, and away you go.
Absolutely not. There's much more to it.
Zoltz is agreeing with me. Zoltz is shaking his head. That's what you do. I used to have. I got one of the. I do
exactly the same.
Yeah, I got my 21st birthday present from my mother was a bread making machine.
All right.
It's a marvellous present that was.
Well, they've
used twice.
That's a very thoughtful present, I'd have thought, for a young bachelor. They've improved a lot. I had one about 20 years ago, and it used to you'd come down full of dread in the morning because you'd have effectively a breeze block sitting in the machine that was totally inedible, and you had to use 2 hands to sort of carry it to the bin and throw it away. But now, much more delicate. I better say, to get down there, you should try it tomorrow. To get up, walk downstairs, sleep in your eyes, fall over the dog and everything else, and breathe in that smell. Then goes Wood, bowls on off stump, turned away into the onside.
So what skill goes into it?
Oh, the very careful weighing of their ingredients, sieving the flour. That's also very important. A bit boring, but get better results with that, I think.
Got to motivate the yeast as well, haven't you?
You've got to talk to her.
I haven't tried
to chat.
Yeah.
I haven't motivated it. How do you motivate it?
Oh, just a rabble-rousing, tub-thumping speech.
Play a bit of music.
I haven't come across that expression. How do you get a teaspoon of yeast going?
Well, just whatever you can do to get a rise out of it. That's all.
Right. I must try that. But no, it's just a smell. I may have a slice or 2 and throw it away. But it's just it is lovely. I gather, did you get a bit grumpy with somebody on Have I Got News For You? Or the news quiz. Have I got news for you? The news quiz yesterday, Andy. Did you cut somebody off, or did you deduct points of one of your contestants?
Yes.
190 for 3. Here's Leach. pushed away into the offside. No, I've been told about this. What happened? Are you in your shed, presumably?
It's not even been broadcast yet.
Oh.
Yes, I had a panellist, Helen Lewis, journalist and writer, who expressed some anti-cricketing sentiments.
Right.
They had to be stamped down on extremely hard.
So you got
straight off, yeah?
Leach again bowls. And Chandimal waits for this. It's a very slow pitch. Plays into the offside.
Yep. So the final edit will be on Radio 4 this evening at 6:30 and on.
It's on this
BBC
evening.
Sounds.
Right. Okay.
Give her the red card, Andy, did you?
Well, he goes Leach again bowls, and he's down the pitch this time, driving once more into the offside. So you're doing the news quiz from the shed as well. It's a multifunctional shed.
Yes. Yeah. I switch it from comedy to cricket. I've got a special handle.
Do you switch the backdrop as well? You get a comedy moment in there. Do you get a... He goes Leach again bowls. It's turned away out towards mid-on. Do you have a photograph of an empty theatre to remind you of your stand-up days?
You've obviously seen my work, Agus. I have actually got a backdrop of an empty theatre.
Ah, there you go.
Jimmy Anderson's just fumbled one at mid-on.
Well, he's got it again, nearly.
Oh, you nearly did it again there,
I did it again. I nearly a replay moment. No, but it's looking at... This is definitely a replay. And he took a huge hoof at the ground there with his left boot. Then goes Leach once more, bowls short, forced off the back foot by Matthews. Crows scattering. The sun's still out, I'm pleased to report. And throw comes into...
Well, I'll tell you what,
Butler.
Agus, I think the England team will know now that they're going to have some work to do to make sure that they get... Joe gets both those hands on the moose.
Yep.
They're going to be in a scrap here. Sri Lanka played very nicely from that initial start this morning.
Add 2 to the score, wickets that is. Then goes Leach, bowls, flick to mid-wicket. I mean, England haven't lost control, but Sri Lanka have regained, well, potentially the upper hand, haven't they? Because if they go on to double this, it would be a good score. 192 for 3. Thanks for your company, Michael. Phil Tuffle's in position. He looks like a good beret on there against the rising sun at the Oval. And Simon Mann's going to take over the commentary.
Thank you, Jonathan. Have you got your onions around your neck there, Tuffers?
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, no, it's absolutely glorious here. And you know our little window at the Oval TMS box? We've got it actually open today.
Have you?
Yes. It's like a spring morning.
Well,
here.
I told you summer was coming.
Yes.
It's warmer here today as well.
Glorious up here.
20th of January, the temperatures begin to pick up. You can turn your central heating off this time of year.
Put another jumper on.
192 for 3. I must ask Zoltz another question about the news quiz. I don't know whether he's not allowed to say anything. He signed some sort of gagging order until the programme goes out. In which case, just tell me to shut up. But is that true, Zoltz, or not?
What?
Well,
That I've signed a gagging order.
Well, you're not allowed to say what's in the programme.
No.
You're not.
Well, I mean, you can probably guess what the big stories are this week.
No. Okay. I just wanted to know what
the result was.
No,
I don't think there's a big gambling market.
No. What did your guest say to you about cricket that you had to, give her the flick
think
about?
She claimed it was not a proper sport.
Oh, right. This is Wood moving into bowl, and he goes into Matthews down the leg side, and it's Matthews shapes to glance, misses it, taken by Butler away to his left-hand side. Okay, and that may or may not make the edit later.
Yes, I don't know if it'll make the edit. I don't know who Agaz's source was for that. It was just recorded yesterday afternoon.
He might have been eavesdropping in the shed. You never know. But it is these days. I don't know if we've mentioned this, have we? I saw a tweet from CricViz saying that, and this is before Mark Wood had bowled a few more balls, but he had bowled quarter an hour ago. You better bring us right up to date how many balls he's bowled in the series. Here he is now in bowls to Matthews on 90. It's way down the leg side again. Matthews again allows it to go by, taken by the keeper. Bowled 218 balls without taking a wicket in this series. Tim Bresnan, the only England bowler this century to bowl more deliveries in a series without taking a wicket. 270 in India in 2012.
Not one you want.
No, it's not. He has been lively today, Wood, but there's just nothing in the pitch, and it's really hard work for England on this first day. To be fair, I mean, Only Anderson to take wickets. No one else has really looked like making the breakthrough. Wood goes in and bowls to Matthews on his hip, turned away into the onside. They go for a quick single, and then there's a shout of no. There's another fumble in the outfield. I've been on that Gaul outfield. It is quite bumpy. It's not like Lords or something like that where it's like a carpet. It is a bit bumpy. We have seen some missed fields today, and I think Lawrence there trying to pick that up one-handed and fumbled it, but Matthews was sent back. If he had set off for the single, then there would have been a run-out chance. It actually feels at the moment, tough as a run-out might be the best opportunity.
Yeah, they're just grinding England down at the moment. Both batted beautifully in partnership. Matthews, really looking to drop anchor.
He's on 90. Wood bowls to him. They've got that leg slip in, and Matthews knocks it off his hip down towards fine leg to the left of the leg slip fielder, and they go through for a run. It might well have come off the thigh pad there. Just waiting to see if Matthews' score is going to tick over.
Well, it makes for a good test match. If Sri Lanka get a decent first inning score, pressure comes right back in. We saw the way England batted in that last innings. I know they got to the 30 odd of 60 odd that they needed, but it's amazing what pressure can do. Runs on the scoreboard, you get a couple of quick wickets, it can send some jitters through you. But they've played nicely here, these two.
Yeah, you can see what Wood is trying to do here. Goes in now and bowls to Matthews, who plays a fidgety shot into the offside. Did they disallow that run? What happened off that previous ball? Because Matthews played it down towards fine leg, and then
I think it was signalled as dead ball because he sort of slightly withdrew his bat, but it can't be more than an inch away from hitting it. And it's because in order to get a leg by, unless you're taking evasive action, you have to be attempting to hit the ball. The umpire seems to have called that he's not made enough of an attempt.
Yeah, the run was disallowed, so that was why Matthews was back on strike. It would have been a leg by, but that seemed a really tough call, that did. Anyway, Matthews took a single off the next ball. Here is Wood going into bowl to Chandimal, still that leg slip in, and he's struck on the patch. Shout for LBW. This isn't too far away, and it is very close. So close that the umpire raises his finger, and Wood finally gets his first wicket of the series. It's 193 for 4. Chandimal on his way for 52, but inevitably he has reviewed it, so it might be a bit premature. It looked a pretty good shout, to be honest. It was a very slow raise of the finger. Wood hoping, he's so relieved. He's got a big smile on his face. There's a real sense of relief out there for Mark Wood. Now, the technology, is it going to do its job as far as Mark Wood is concerned?
Oh, a little bit of reverse swing. He hasn't hit it.
Okay, passes close to the bat.
Well, this looks good. I have to say it looks good, unless he's. I don't think he's hit it, has he?
Knee roll or just above. I think it's going to be umpire's call.
On what, leg side or?
Yeah, just hit clip in top of leg stump.
When the ball passes the bat. Yeah, you can give me a ball tracking when he's ready, please.
Here we go.
This is the big moment for Mark Wood. What will his face be like if this is missing? He's already celebrated. He's already shown us his relief at getting a wicket. Here we go.
Orientation is out. Pitching outside off.
Yes.
Impact in line. Wickets hitting. Give me the on-field umpire. Kumar, you can stay with your original decision.
There we go. I mean, there have been plumb at LBWs, but that was pretty plumb, wasn't it? It was hitting middle and leg, more leg than middle.
Yeah, inside the leg stump. 2/3
the way up. So, Wood gets his wicket, and Chandimal's out for 52, and that is a big blow struck by Mark Wood. 193 for 4.
Yeah, and he's deserved that, Mark Wood. He's come steaming in all day there. You could just see it in his face. The relief was as the finger went up. A good knock by Dennis Chandimal, 52, but that could have just opened the door. And this is what you've got to do in the subcontinent. Now, when you break that partnership, you've got to be right on it for the new batsman. You've got to be all over him, attacking fields and give him nothing. But delighted for Mark Wood there. Some honest toil he's put in there, and he's got his rewards with a wicket. He would have bowled worse and got more wickets than he's done today. So I'm delighted for him.
Yeah. Zoltz might better add up how many balls it took him to take a wicket in this series.
Well, it's just over 230. I think I'll get the exact number. So he's now out of that stat of most balls bowled by an England bowler this millennium without a wicket in a series. Chandimal's final figures 52 of 121, the partnership 117 in 42.4 overs.
Yeah, good partnership. It's all about partnerships, wearing down the opposition. Dick Weller has got a crucial role to play as well now. He can bat, but he likes to get on with it. Perhaps now is not the time. Just needs to dig in with Angelo Matthews and just form another partnership.
Just looking at Dick Weller's dismissals in the series, they've been ignominious ones, really.
Yes.
He got out to that horrible long hop from Bess.
Yeah.
That was a joke of a wicket, really. in the first innings of the first test. I mean, Bess was too embarrassed to celebrate. Fair play to him, actually, for not celebrating. And then the second innings, he was going really well, and he played a poor shot against Bess again. It was caught behind by Butler, so it's in the locker from Dick Weller. But he is dangerous. He's a handy customer to come in at number 6 for Sri Lanka.
Long Beach, isn't it, Dick Weller? Long Beach.
Yeah.
His name? Yeah, means Long Beach.
As we discovered in the first test, his first name is also his last name.
Yes, that's right. But a crucial role to play here.
Yeah, after Dick Weller, Mendes in his first test. Pereira's been bumped up the order one, but he does have some batting pedigree. But he's 38 now, and there's like Wood steaming in, and then McMahon, who's got a test average of 11. Embledenia, who gave it away, as night watchman. And Fernando, well, I've just said all those. It's almost as though Sri Lanka might as well declare after being 5 down. But there'll be some resistance in that lower order, especially on this pitch as well.
I think there was just a hint of reverse swing there, Simon.
Yeah, might well have been, yeah. Umpire Damascene get a very slow death, doesn't it?
Look at Mark Wood. Oh, looks to the sky, arms outstretched. Got one.
It was almost one of those arms raised in church.
Hallelujah.
Situations there from Mark Wood. Right, that was the last ball of the over, so Matthews is on strike. Leach goes in to bowl to him outside the off. Some gentle turn there.
Yes.
Matthews allowing it to go by. Slow turn, sort of turn that shouldn't worry you.
No.
In the first stage of a game.
But science. That's the first one that's just gripped and bounced. A little bit wide of the off stump. But just a bit of spinach there.
93 for 4. I think they would dearly love the wicket of Matthews.
Oh.
They get him before the score gets to 200, then on this pitch they'll feel they've done extremely well.
Yeah, they've turned it round if they can get him out.
Matthews in sight of his 11th test 100. He comes stabbing forward there. There's again a hint of something for Leach. Bit of purchase on the pitch. Nothing extravagant, but enough to keep the batsman honest now.
It's funny how it just goes, as you say, especially in the subcontinent. You can almost sort of set your watch by it sometimes. Russell Arnold said, perhaps the end of the first day, start the second day. And
Leach bowls forward, goes Matthews playing defensively into the offside, and there's no run. Well, sometimes you play one-day internationals in the subcontinent, and you go bat first because the wicket, by the end of the day, the wicket will be hard to bat on. I mean, it's obviously a bit different with the Test match, but that shows you that a pitch can progress over the course of a day.
Yeah.
Leach bowls. Matthews again plays that rather suspiciously, as if the ball early in the over put some doubt in his mind. Depends into the offside and there's no run. Of course, the other thing that will put some doubt in Matthews' mind is the wicket at the other end, because he'll think, I desperately don't want to get out at the moment. Especially the new ball only 10 overs away as well.
Yeah.
Leach bowls. Matthews drives it firmly back, scuttling back to the bowler there, the ball. Leach fields it in front of the stumps. And there is no run. Leach coming to the end of his 18th over. And he's taken none for 55. Nothing for the spinners today. All 4 wickets to pace. 3 for Anderson and 1 Glory be for Mark Wood. There's some more movement behind the bowler's arm. Another delay. Leach spinning himself some catches. He went to grip the ball and he wasn't quite right, so he spun himself another catch. In he goes now and bowls to Matthews, fraction short, it's clipped away. Diving attempt at mid-wicket is unsuccessful, goes out towards the deep mid-wicket boundary. 2 fielders after it.
Slowly.
Surely Matthews is going to come back for 3 this time. Crawley was one of them, his hat fell off. Anderson was another one, and weary Anderson running back towards deep mid-wicket.
It was a little bit laboured from both of them there, wasn't it? Like,
so even Matthews had time to get back for 3 then.
Yeah, that's when you get the dive out, hoping that you can stay down there and let some other fella go and get it, but he had to then get up himself and jog after it. It's been a long, old, tiring day for England in the field.
The score is 196 for 4. It's the last ball of the over from Leach. So Matthews has kept the bowling. England, I think they'd like to have a go with Wood at Dick Weller, if indeed Wood is going to continue. Yes, he is. He's bowled 12 overs today. Root's doing some sort of dancing now. I'm not quite sure why.
Surfing, isn't it?
Yeah,
Bit of
surfing, is it? I'm not quite sure in response to what particular incident, but something has got him going. Anyway, it's going to be Wood to bowl to Matthews, who's 6 away from the century. His last 100 against Zimbabwe in Harare made 200. Here goes Wood down the leg side, and Matthews tries to glance it and misses. This is a deliberate tactic. I know we've been mentioning bowling down there's a leg slip in, and so clearly what they're trying to do is play it off his hip without control, picked up by the leg slip fielder, because Wood's got that extra pace, and sometimes it's not so easy to control it in that hip region.
Well, also it's an instinctive shot, isn't it, by a batsman? You see it, leg stump, foolish, you just think, oh right, okay, here you go, get inside the line and clip it off my legs, and it can skim it into those areas.
Not totally dissimilar to Tiramani's dismissal in the first test. Wood steaming in to bowl to Matthews. Goes in now, again it's down the leg side. Matthews shapes to flick at it. I think that was a bit half-hearted that time. And taken by Butler. Very deliberate tactic to Angelo Matthews.
Well, I suppose if you've got your eye in as a batsman and they're bowling sort of outside off stump, you can judge that and leave it, but it's very difficult to leave down the leg side, if you know what I'm trying to say. Yeah. You just see it as a batsman and it's instinctive. Clip that off and off you go.
And it's one of those as well, if he were to be caught down the leg side, you wouldn't say that was a strangle, because Wood is at the moment deliberately bowling for something like that, either caught behind or caught leg slip or a big flick down towards fine leg if Matthews got after it. Wood bowls this time outside the off stump, again a hint of reverse, and Matthews is in behind it playing defensively towards mid-wicket, and there's no run.
Yeah, it's a bit of a trap.
England going through the repertoire here. 196 for 4. Matthews on 94. Yeah, not just Wood's first wicket of the series, first wicket, full stop, since July the 12th. Was that in Test
first
wicket?
test in Southampton, and the second innings he took a wicket in his first over.
West Indies.
Wood bowls short, Matthews ducks underneath it, through to Butler, but I'm fairly sure, let's have a quick look at this, that he's been taking wickets in the one-day series against Australia. Yeah, he took 3 for 54 on the 11th of September against Australia at Old Trafford.
But in tests, he didn't take a wicket in his last 11 overs in Southampton, and his first 39 overs in this series was a wicket with the last ball of his 39th over of the series, so 50 overs without a wicket.
Yeah. Well, he felt it as well. You could just see it in the celebration. Wood looking for another one. Bowls to Matthews, and that's one down the leg side again. There's a tough of the cheeks from Butler, and Wood raises fingers to his mouth there because Matthews is looking to glance.
Yeah.
And this tactic could work.
Yeah,
it's sort of odds against, but it might do.
It's a strange shot he's played, because I don't know quite whether he's then leaving it right at the last minute as it's going past him down the leg side, or he's just sort of like playing it, missing it, and then raising the bat. It's all a bit of a flourish. He might be then trying to leave those ones off his hip, knowing that the man's there to catch him round the corner.
Well, it's on his mind clearly.
Yeah,
it's flinging a lot down there. He goes in now and bowls. That's full, and Matthews drives on the up there. Hits it firmly into the onside. It was uppish for a while as well off the bat. It stopped at mid-wicket. There's no run. It was a good over, interesting over there from Mark Wood. That tactic England are using. It's something to think about, I suppose, on flat pitches for the future with that extra pace. Right, it's 196 for 4. I've located Dan on Zoom this time. So on you go, Dan.
Thank you, Simon. So Dick Weller has yet to face a ball, and he's about to face a ball. Phil Tufnell.
Yeah.
Who do you want bowling your first ball at him? Are you Don Bessing it? Are you Jack Leaching it?
I really want him to be down Mark Wood's end, whistling them past his outside off.
You don't have that option, I'm afraid.
No, I know. I don't mind, but whoever bowls at it, they've got to realise, let's have a couple of men in front, if it's the spinner, and really pressurise him. He's just come in, he's on naught.
Because this
Get
is
6 right at him, get 6 on good line, get good length, don't let him just get one and rotate strike.
This is a real opportunity for England here. There's about an hour and 10 minutes left.
Yeah.
And with a new batter in on a good pitch, Sri Lanka won the toss, elected to bat. They'd have hoped to come out the day, 270 for 3 or 4. They're 196 for 4 here, and a wicket or 2 now will give England the day, perhaps. They can stay in. On the other hand, it is Leach who's going to bowl round the wicket, interestingly. And it's played into the onside of the front foot. No run. Would you be doing that?
Well,
Bill?
yeah, I don't mind that, because if he wants to play across that front pad, it might just get him LBW, but it's just going to be a good, good length. Don't let him just rock back and feel the back, ball on bat, and knock it for 1.
He's in again round the wicket. Forward comes Dick Weller, defends, pushes back up the wicket, and there's no run.
This is where, as a bowler and a spin bowler especially, you've got to really concentrate, and you've got to concentrate. You've got to suss out the situation here, and he'll know that. But you've got to have the rhythm in you to do it.
Forward short leg and a slip in. Leach in, gets him really reaching forward there, Dick Weller, to a wider ball, and he pushes it to short extra cover. There's no run.
Yeah, you've got to make him know that he's in a contest now, because he'll be feeling, right, I've just got to get myself in there, work 1s and 2s. Give him nothing.
Here is Leach. Dick Weller comes down the wicket and almost yorks himself, digs out this full ball, around about off stump, back to the bowler. There's no run, there's just a sense of tension out there. He'll know how important this moment is, because after Dick Weller we've got a debutant, Ramesh Mendis,
and a new
at
ball.
7. A new ball available in 8.2 overs. Quite a long tail. Lakmal in, no Hazaranga. The all-rounder, no Shanaka today, so
Just got a sniff here, England, if they bowl well for the next 40 minutes.
well, they've toiled well today. Will they get some late reward? Let's see. Leach round the wicket, in, and Dick Weller just prods the ball, comes forward and pushes it deliberately back to the bowler.
Oh, I'm bowling it for him.
You are. You are. Yes, I mean, he's got a lovely action when you're doing it. He's got a lovely action anyway, but he spins the ball in his hands here. Now comes in. Dick Weller flicks into the onside, and he's going to get off strike, but that means he's on the strike for the start of the next over, so England won't be too disappointed by that. A single off the last ball. 197 for 4. Dick Weller on the 1. Matthews 94. So now you've got your wish.
Yep.
If Wood stays on.
Yep.
Wood at the new batter.
Yep. Give us a couple around the throat and a couple of sort of full ones outside off stump going away from the left-hander. Yeah, it could have worked out perfectly for England there, but better by Leach there. You could feel that he felt that was a crucial sort of over, even though he's just come in. Crucial over, just to get it in that danger area, put pressure on. As you say, we were sitting there, we could feel it just ramp up. So obviously that sort of good bowl in the first Test match has helped him out a bit there.
Let's just take a quick look at the time. I mean, in the hope, I suppose, that any weather stays away or bad light, we could go on till noon, Andy. Is that correct? Noon English time. So that's an hour and 6 minutes away. 18 overs left to be bowled. I don't think that's going to happen. So a new ball would become available in 8 overs time, which is probably about 11:30. There'd be half an hour with it if England wanted to use it. Wood round the wicket to the left-handed Dick Weller. The new batsman drives away from his body, thick inside edge, squirts past the leg stump. Very fortunate there, Dick Weller. Feet didn't really move, hands did. And he gets off strike, which is frustrating for the bowler and frustrating for England. It was right up there in the block hole, and it was a nothing shot from Dick Weller. If he got out to that, it would have looked horribly limp.
Yeah.
Thick inside edge.
Oh, that was unfortunate.
Well, it was just too thick to come back onto the stumps. It went squarer.
I think you just said he didn't move defeat there.
Did I?
Dick Weller didn't move defeat.
It gets to that time of the day when I start losing the power of speech. Wood in, pulled by Matthews down towards long leg, And a good sprawling stop from Sam Curran, who throws back in left-handed, and he gets a clap from Mark Wood because he's kept it to 1, which means Dick Weller is back on strike, which is exactly who Wood wants to be bowling at, the new batter. England having made the breakthrough after a 4th wicket partnership between Matthews and Chandimal of 117, broken by Mark Wood. The end of the 69th over. We're now in the 73rd over. Chandimal referred it. The ball was shown to be crashing into middle and leg. Well, leg, but
inside a leg stump.
Inside of leg stump, exactly so. Sri Lanka lost a review. They only have 2 remaining. 3 reviews, of course, in this series, in these COVID times. Dick Weller on strike. Sri Lanka 199 for 4. Wood round the wicket to him. 2 slips in. He defends from the crease. Full ball, no foot movement. Pushes it to the offside. No run.
Yeah, I was just going to mention that. He's one of those guys, obviously very good eye-hand coordination, but no real foot movement. So anything coming into him, he just stays in that position and can't line up quite nicely. Anything slightly wide of the off stump early on in his innings, he just sort of just throws the hands at it. Very good when you're in and you've got the pace and the bounce of the pitch, but early on things can happen. It doesn't put a big stride to the seam bowler.
So do you want to put it out there?
A little bit. I'd just put perhaps a 4th or 5th stump. Bit of width to him. He likes to fill bat on ball. I haven't seen him leave too many.
Round the wicket he is Wood. That last ball was 91 miles an hour. He comes forward to this, pushes into the offside. Little fumble in the covers, but they haven't come through for a run. So Dick Weller stays on strike. He is bowling it full. He's bowling it out there, is Wood. Yeah. Do you think? I just wonder if he's going to do that. The angle across.
Oh, yeah, I make it right. Yeah,
maybe for the last couple of balls. Or ball.
It's a bit trendy now, isn't it? Coming around to the left-hander straight away there.
Everyone loves it.
Bit of a fashion thing, isn't it now?
Yeah.
Like flares.
Did you used to have flares?
Well, occasionally.
So the wonderful thing about the 70s was you couldn't avoid being fashionable, could you? Because you couldn't buy trousers that weren't flared, as I recall. Wood in. Round the wicket to Dick Weller, who pushes again, slightly tentatively away from his body to a full ball on a roundabout 4th stump. Into the covers. No run. 199 for 4. On the BBC Sport website, there's lots of cricket to keep in touch with today. Bangladesh playing the West Indies, 1-day series. BBL, Big Bash, the Sydney Derby taking place at the moment. Alex Hales hit 110 earlier. The Thunder set an imposing 233 for victory. Sixers top of the table, but struggling in that one. Wood in full again, pushed into the offside. See where the right of mid-off, end of the over. A good over from Mark Wood. Kept Dick Weller quiet, 199 for 4. Dick Weller 2, Matthews 95. All the scores from the cricket around the world is available on the BBC Sport website. You're listening to Fly High Sports Extra. It's Test Match Special here with a Test match in Gaul, the second of the series. Sri Lanka 199 for 4.
It's all. You can get it all.
You get it all.
Get it all.
You can get it now.
Global.
Yeah. That's right.
See you later.
Thank you for that gnomic utterance, Philip. Dick Weller 2, Matthews 95. We should say some words about Matthews, but we may do that after we've gone over to Andy Zoltzman.
Well, some words about Matthews. He's a victim of the nervous 90s, Dan, and we talked in the last test about how statistically overall batsmen are much less likely to get out in the 90s than after scoring their century. But Matthews has been out in the 90s 5 times in his career and has made 10 centuries, so he has a 33% failure rate in the 90s.
And that's way higher than the normal failure rate, isn't it? As Leach into the right-handed Matthews, who props forward in defence, full ball on off stump, pushes into the covers. There's no run. Alistair Cook has rejoined me. He's fully coated up, as if he's feeling the cold, despite the piercing sunshine coming up over the Oval Pavilion away to our left.
I haven't taken it off all day. I'm quite cosy. It's just quite cosy.
You look cosy, actually.
Thank you.
Leach in, forward comes Matthews, jabbing at the ball, plays it into the onside. There's no run. You feel it's sort of, we ought to be sort of toasting marshmallows around a fire pit on the balcony out here.
Oh, we could bring one in tomorrow. Get Tough as likes a good fire, doesn't he?
Yes, I'm very confused because it's sort of tee time, a post tee, is back into his crease goes Matthews, pushes in the offside, there's no run. I've been angling for some dim sum from our producer, and he's very resistant to going and getting us some shumai and I don't know, some raw scallop. Oh, be nice, wouldn't it?
At 11 o'clock in the morning.
I know. Leach in, full, but nonetheless, Matthews goes back into his crease and pushes into the covers. And there's no run.
Tougher just saying how well he's bowled today, because he seems to have he's been on air with all the wickets. He's
bowled very well.
Yeah, he's got his share.
He did get the first two, in fairness. He hadn't actually arrived here with the first two.
Oh no, so what's he shown?
Full pushed it to the offside. To short extra, and there's no run. Didn't you get the first two?
No, must have been Skipper Vorney. He must have been.
Oh, I think it might have been. Yeah. Oh, that's right. Because you came on at 5, didn't you?
Yeah. Seems a long time ago.
Very long time ago. The second new ball is available. It's 6 overs after this, and forward again comes Matthews. Defends again, back up the wicket. No run. Is that 2 consecutive maidens there, Andy?
No.
No. No, there are 2.
But it's two maidens in 4 overs, 1 by Wood and then 1 by Leach, and only 3 runs in the 2 overs in between. In the last 7 overs, just 9 runs in the wicket.
Now you see, this is the thing, Alistair. England may be not disappointed to have only taken 4 wickets. It's a flat pitch, but what will be really pleasing them, despite having taken just the 4 wickets, is that Sri Lanka haven't gone anywhere, have they? With the new ball available, if England were to pick up a couple of wickets in what's left of today, there's an hour left if the light and the rain holds off. There are big purple clouds gathering menacingly, but the sun is shining. You think they're some way away into the
they're drifting away.
Away.
I don't know which direction the wind's going in or anything, but I think they slid by, isn't it, like the saying?
Yes. Well, they did the other day, didn't they? We were expecting them to run. We had this huge sort of black cloud. I thought it was going to dump its load, and it didn't. Wood scurries in to the left-handed Dick Weller, who punches off the back foot away from his body. Doesn't get much on it. It rolls to point. No run.
Yeah, there's always players who do particularly well against certain teams, like the bogey sides, in football and stuff. Angelo Matthews always seems to be that player for me. I don't know whether I'm just mentally scarred from what happened at Headingley, but
we're all mentally scarred from what happened at Headingley.
I know.
I did my tax return 7 months early because of that.
Did you really?
Yeah, I actually did. I was so horrified by what was going on. I had to go and do something productive.
So I was going to ask Goltz here, against when I've been playing, what Matthews' record is, and I'm including this game in this thing now because I feel as if I'm heavily involved in it.
I think you are.
He's probably going to get 100. Well, he's 95. Hopefully, I'll give him the kiss of death. But it seems like his average would be remarkably high against me.
Wood in, and Dick Weller just pushes that full ball back to the bowler, and there's no run. 199 for 4. I think you've raised a very interesting point here that I meant to bring up both with Andy Zaltzman and our producer Adam Mountford, when you said, you feel that you're basically playing this game because you're on TMS. As Wood is in round the wicket to Dick Weller, who gets one on the hip, which he manages to turn round the corner fine down towards the boundary, but Sam Curran with a good sprawling stop bends down to his left rather wearily, it must be said, and then bowls the ball in at the end of a long hot day. But I think he has managed to prevent the boundary. The 200 comes up for Sri Lanka, 201 for 4. Dick Weller, it's 4. Just checking on the replay here. Yes, Sam Curran has managed to just get the one hand down to it, but he's a young, fit, vigorous man. It tells you how sapping the Gaul heat is. He looked like he'd been out there a while.
I think he was hoping that someone else was there to help him to throw, because how long it took him to go and pick that ball back up.
And then he bowled it in. He didn't really throw it. As Wood is in again to the left-handed Dick Weller. He comes forward more assertively on this occasion and pushes to point. There's no run. Yes, the question I want to ask Andy Zaltzman and our producer Adam Mountford, if he's listening, is do these matches count towards our full Test match special cap count, or are these going to get ended up like the rest of the World Series in 1970 with a kind of asterisk against them? I mean, I think they should be full caps myself. What do you think, Andy?
What? I don't know.
It's Tough one, isn't it?
Well, that is very tough. Definitely with you on the rest of the world in 1970.
Yeah. Well, I think those games should have been made test matches, but
In terms of Matthews against Alistair Cook, his record isn't particularly better in games involving and not involving Alistair Cook. But of course, to get those back-to-back centuries when you were captain.
Wood in. Dick Weller just angles this into the offside. It's half stopped at point and then tidied up by Lawrence in the covers. There's no run. I think you tend to remember certain scarring experiences, don't you?
Did he get 100 in that? The 100 in the game before that as well, did he?
Yes, at Lords. Yeah,
got 100 at Lords, then he got the 100 when they were 7 down, weren't they, level, and they managed to beat us by.
But you probably felt like you had been bowling at him forever at that point.
Yeah, I mean, I wasn't actually bowling myself, but I blame the bowlers.
Maybe you should have done.
well,
yeah, you had yourself to
I
blame
had the
there.
power, yeah.
Yeah. Last ball of the 75th over. Wood in full, driven nicely by Dick Weller, but straight to Lawrence in the covers. Again, no run. A good tidy over, just a 2 from it. Sri Lanka 201 for 4, 5 overs to go until a second new ball is available for England. It'll be interesting to see if they take it. There are 54 minutes left for play if the weather and the light holds. Andy.
6 overs in this spell from Wood. That's the longest spell by a seam bowler in this series so far.
Thank you.
He's taken 1 for 14 in those 6.
Sorry, so was Anderson's spell either side of tee? Not counting that? Was that? How long was that? Well, he changed ends, didn't he?
Yeah.
He wasn't bowling before tee. He bowled 2 and 3 after tee.
Right, gotcha.
So sort of 5 overs, but with a change of ends.
Right. Now then, there's been a change of gloves, I think. Matthews is just wearing his cap. He's removed his helmet. So does he know that Wood's coming off then when he does that, Alistair?
I'd assume so, yeah. He's also thinking he's mad to bowl 6 with that ball, I think.
Right.
He can't bowl 7.
Right.
No, I'd imagine in this series, quite friendly between the teams, he might have just said to Joe Root, is the spinner coming on now? And John Best come on? Or maybe I haven't seen Joe Root. I'm surprised he might have had a little, like an over or 2.
Leach in, tosses it up, but ends up being a little too short. Matthews is able to go onto the back foot and place it square of the wicket in the offside. Out towards Don Bess on the point boundary. 1 more to the total. 202 for 4. Matthews 94. 4 runs away from 100.
94 or 96?
96. So as I was thinking of being 4 runs away. You see, this is what happens. I'm going to start talking about I'm going to lose my all my sense of thought. See what's happening? I can't speak anymore. Mercifully, Aggers is due on in 5 balls' time. May they come quickly and uneventfully. Full pushed up to wide mid-on. Curran does a fielding, throws into the keeper's end, and they've come through for a run. Dick Weller to 5 from 18. Matthews 96 from 200.
Very controlled from Dick Weller, isn't he? Worryingly controlled. I thought he might want to come and play a few more shots, but he might have Mickey Arthur's words ringing in his ears.
Never got 100 at Gaul, Angelo Matthews, but has an average of 51.36. Forward he comes and pushes it to the offside, thinks of a single, it isn't there. These are nervous 90s, perhaps. We were just, Andy Zoltz was just telling us, been out frequently in the 90s, and he's not converted any of his 12 half centuries so far at Gaul into 100, which is a curious stat. Top order batsman Leach into him, and he rocks back again and cuts out into the offside. Bess will field. 1 more to the total. 204 for 4. 75.4 overs gone, so 4 overs to go after this before another new ball. England would love, wouldn't they, to keep Matthews, just make sure he's not got 100, take the new ball and then test his nerves.
Yeah, I mean, I'm trying to work out whether they will take it or not. You know, just whether they might just have 2 overs with it at the end or something. I don't know. I mean, it depends what time. What's it, 4 overs? They probably have.
Leach in round the wicket to Dick Weller, who advances and drives to Anderson at mid-off, and because he was on the walk as he played the shot, was able to get through for a run. He moves to 6, 205 for 4.
Matthews has been out twice in the 90s at Gaul, and could be about to lose a record if he does reach 3 figures. 12 50s, no hundreds at Gauls, the most 50s without a century by a batsman at a specific stadium. He could be about to lose that record, Harry.
Oh, he won't want to do that, you wouldn't have thought. Leach in round the wicket to the right-handed Matthews on 97. And again, too short, and he's able to cut this out into the offside again. Bess Willfield, that's the third time that happened in that over. Matthews moves to 98, he will keep strike. 206 for 4. Dick Weller has 6 more from Alistair Cook, and then take you through the next 20 minutes or so. It's going to be Jonathan Agnew.
Just watching Aggers slide in up there in the Viva, but Angelo Matthews has played incredibly well. 98 not out. Deserves 100. Actually, it's looked quite controlled all day, hasn't it, Aggers?
Yeah, played well in the second innings the other day as well when he got 71. You think of Matthews as being someone who hits the ball, who plays shots, but he's been very controlled in both these 2 innings. Of course, he was hate to bring it up, but he was a bit of a tormentor of yours, wasn't he, at Headingley in that famous victory for Sri Lanka. His innings there.
Yeah, we just asked Salts about his record against me. He does feel like he just bats forever against.
Yeah.
He's a world-class player, and one of those wickets you, as a captain of the opposition, you want to see early, just because of his ability to. Again, he's a bit like Dan Lawrence I was talking about when he was playing. He plays a situation so well, and he's definitely a situation player. And you say in this innings he's played very steadily, but he can be very expansive.
Well, Mark Wood's in a spell here, isn't he? My word, given the heat and humidity, he's rushing in again. Bowls to Matthews down the leg side, and quite carried to Butler, rather died on the surface, but Wood must be getting a bit tired now. How many in this spell now, Andy?
This is his 7th, and no fast bowler bowled more than 5 in the series in a spell before.
Big spell for a fast bowler, and Wood is running in. It's not just a case of just running up and bowling rhythmically or something. I mean, he's absolutely giving us everything, on a big smile on his face. He's obviously loving every minute. That hard work is sucking in air. Getting up towards the choice of that new ball. I'm with you actually, Cookie. I'm not sure they will take it, but in goes Wood again. Bowls on off stump, a little cutter. Again, the ball coming back a little at Matthews, who can only play it to mid-on. It's been hard work getting it away, hasn't it? And that reverse swing that accounted for Chandimal.
Yeah, I think they will take it tonight. I just don't, whether they take it on the 80 overs. I think, just a couple of overs upset. If Dick Weller and Matthews get through the next 25 minutes or so, they'll feel like quite comfortable, won't they? So just changing the hardness of the ball, changing their rhythm, I think it will be a good option. Just whether Joe Root decides to do it, at the 80th over.
Wood again springing in, bowl once more on the leg stump. Now Matthews got out of the way, but only as far as long leg. And Curran picks up cleanly, throws the ball in, and Matthews moves to 99, not out, 1 away from his 11th Test century and his first at Gaul, as we've been hearing. He's had to wait for a little while. As Wood's now got he's got his hands on his ribs, really sucking in. Anderson's talking to him there. He's looking quite cheerful. Big smile there from the old 38-year-old. Bowled beautifully today. Ridiculous figures. 15 overs, 8 maidens, 3 for 16. Sort of figures you'd take they get more wickets out of Trent Bridge, I suppose, but I mean, those sort of figures for our home conditions rather than Gaul in Sri Lanka. 15 overs, 3 for 16. Wood round the wicket, bowls, and Dick Weller reaches and drives and misses. Almost finding that outside edge, and Root's holding his head in his hands, pacing round there at slip. Just a fraction, but it's a game of fractions of fractions. Makes it your day one day and not the next. They can only be just a fraction of a millimetre. That was a lovely ball. It just held its own from round the wicket.
Yeah, and actually the next 45 minutes will almost decide whether it's England's day or Sri Lanka's day, because if England do pick up, say, a couple of wickets, I think you'd have to give the day to England. 6 down on a flat one in Gaul on day one.
Wood again bowls, Dick Weller's forward. Plenty of bat on this, finds point.
But if Sri Lanka manage to bat, don't lose another wicket, only 4 wickets down on the day one, they'll be, they haven't scored that quickly, but I do think if they push up past 350, I think that will be a good score on this wicket. It has to deteriorate with the amount how hot it will be out there, how dry it must be. I mean, I know we're 7,000 miles away, but it must be a dry wicket to take turn, end of day 2, day 3, as Russell Arnold said.
Yeah. No, I don't think either side will feel they've had a bad day by any means, and both sides will feel that they're in a position to strike. Then goes Wood round the wicket again, bowls Dick Weller, a little bit of room there towards the leg side, and then played out to mid-off. It's the end of the over. 88 miles an hour is still tearing in, Mark Wood. And is that it? I wonder. We'll see. I think he's had the Wood. He had a slap on the back there from Jimmy Anderson. He's pulling his cap on. But, a really good effort from Mark Wood. And this brings Angelo Matthews down to see if he can just get that one to notch his 100 up. Rob Meachers sent us a message. I love Mark Wood. His enthusiasm, his belief, his heart to run in at full tilt, ball after ball in this oppressive heat is testament to his fitness and determination. What a bloke. Well, he's one of the most popular figures in English cricket, that's for sure. And we've had lots of fun with him when he's been on the radio with us. So he does give it absolutely everything, and England want to see him running in like that at, say, Perth, Brisbane. See how fit he is for the Ashes, very much in their plans. So Matthews on 99. He's going to face Leach, who hasn't taken a wicket yet. Goes in round the wicket, bowls short, clubbed into the offside, a gift. And Angelo Matthews runs through to complete his 11th Test century. Disappointing ball, no pressure there again. But Matthews is delighted. The lone supporter on the ramparts waves his flag, and all his teammates are out there on the balcony with their hands clapping above their heads to say well played. And he has played extremely well. His 11th 100, his 88th Test match. He gets a bit of a hug there from Dick Weller as well, just for good measure.
A real classy knock, just in total control. I mean, the conditions were in his favour, but almost from the moment he walked out, I know he walked out in a bit of a tough situation at 7 for 2. Probably was hoping for a bit better start, but he's just looked in total control, hasn't given a chance, and just has kind of meandered on. He'll be hoping to do a Joe Root here, slightly different tempo from this game to Joe Root's innings, but he knows how important turning that 100 into a good old Graham Gooch daddy 100, and England will desperately want to stop that.
Yeah. Well, he hasn't given a chance really. He's just looked really well set throughout. Dick Weller on 6. In goes Leach. Bowls tossing it up, low full toss, driven hard into the offside. And there's no run. Clock ticking around. We can go through to midday to get these overs in, so another 40 minutes. Still 13 overs to go, so in fact almost certainly won't get them all in. Dick Weller's down the pitch, flicking away down to mid-on. Slightly stole that single there. Matthews raising his bat high. Quite right too. He'll be celebrating tonight, I would imagine.
Mickey Arthur Cam's back, the first time we've seen him today.
Yep. He's been hiding, hasn't he?
Yeah, he has been hiding.
He's been tucked away inside. Shame. He was good playing for the last game. Leach round the wicket, bowls. Matthews forward, plays back up the pitch again. Leach fields. How do you celebrate 100 in Sri Lanka? Cold beer, I suppose, if you prefer alcohol. In goes Leach, bowls, forced off the back foot to cover. It's that sort of a quench of a thirst of a place, isn't it?
I think the dip in the swimming pool afterwards is as good a feeling as you get, isn't it, when you get back to that hotel?
You always feel the steam rising, don't you? You sort of as you get in. 209 for 4. He's 100 not out, drives that away down towards mid-on. It's a beer country rather than a wine country, isn't it? I remember a tour years ago. I think we were in Candy. Victor Baxter and I went. It was between games. We're having dinner together up top of this hill. Then we ordered a bottle of wine. It was very rare to see it on the menu. We thought, well, we'll enjoy ourselves tonight. So we ordered a bottle of wine. probably Chilean or something. Anyway, the sommelier arrived, very pleased with himself. I don't think he got called upon very often. And he brought the bottle of wine. And he said, sirs, he said, I must ask you, would you like it with sound or without sound?
Okay.
I'm sorry. No, would like the cork taken out with sound or without sound? And I said, well, I looked at Peter. I said, perhaps, I think probably without sound, if that's all right. So sure enough, he sort of eased the cork out very, very, very gently. There's absolutely no sound at all. He just gently removed this cork. A few days later, we thought we would try this again. So we ordered a bottle of wine, and here he came. And he said, sir, I was asking again, sound or no sound? And Peter said, I think we'll go sound this evening, if that's all right. Sure enough, he took the fall of it and actually ripped this cork out of the bottle with whatever sort of explosion you could make from a cork out of a wine bottle. So that was an amusing experience up in the hills of Kandy a long time ago.
Did it taste any different? No,
I don't think it did. I'm not quite sure what
sound
supposed
did
to do. No, I don't know. I suppose just turn a few heads in the dining room, I suppose. In goes Wood and starts another over. He's continuing, bowls round the wicket. A bouncer. Dick Weller's underneath. There'll be sommeliers who'll be listening who'll know, I'm sure, what he was trying to do to this. It was rather a cheap bottle of Sauvignon Blanc or something. I can't think it would have done too much to it. But anyway, sound or without sound. If you get asked that in Sri Lanka, you know what to do, what to expect. Look at
some details on Matthews' century after this ball.
8th over, without a break. Runs in again, round the wicket and bowls. Well, plays from around about the leg stump. He stays quite leg side of the ball. And Wood's still smiling. I suppose it keeps you going, really. Better smiling than grumbling, I think. If you're going to carry on this heat, go on then, Andy.
207 balls, 10 fours. He said his 11th in Test cricket. His first at home since 2015, when he had 3 and 4 matches, but had gone 18 Tests without 100 since then. His third against England, but his first not against the captaincy of Alistair Cook. So that's a nice little accolade for him.
That's a good stat. Dick Weller's left-handed, waiting again as Wood runs in, bowls a good short ball there, and Dick Weller got a bit of a tangle. In the end, he ended up looking, he was trying to run it over the slips to third man, but he was just retreating a little bit, not far away from the edge of the bat. Would have been a bit of a bonus. But, Wood very short, spiky haired. I suspect he might have been an Ollie Robinson victim as well.
Did he start the tour with a slightly shaved head though? Don't know. I thought I saw a picture of him with the old sheep-sheared look before.
Had it done before. I don't know where he had it done, because it was also maybe he did it himself. Dick Weller on 7, peering through the grill of his helmet, but he had to wait here a moment because Wood's changing the slip formation probably. Yes, he's once. So he's actually having one slip and one slip and 2 gullies, and a lot of crows gathering down at third man. And here's Wood again. He bowls to fuller of length, trying a bit of a bluff there. I think he was trying to I think this is going to be a bit shorter. They might try and run the ball into the gully.
I wonder whether he's been pushing them. They've been bowling around the wicket. He's been just shaping away from Dick Weller. I reckon.
Trying to drive?
Yeah, he was trying to think the slice drive, and then I reckon he turned the ball around that way and tried to see if the ball would have reversed in at all, but it didn't. He managed to get the ball going. It's made the ball reverses is when it's only doing a little bit, reverses one way and not the other. I mean, it's been a hint of reverse, isn't it, away?
Yes.
I reckon he just turned it around. Actually just went pretty much gun barrel straight.
209 for 4. Wood again, round the wicket, bowls that off-cutter. Slightly slower ball. He's pleased with himself. He's got a big smile on his face. But you reckon this will probably be the end. It's the 79th over. The new ball could be taken at the end of the next. So I can't see Jimmy Anderson warming up too furiously.
Does he need to warm up when it's 30 degrees, do you?
No, I guess not. So are you taking it, Alistair, or not? Look at the time. We've got 35 minutes to go. Say half an hour then with that new ball. Here's Wood bowling, turned away off the hip.
I'm
way down to fine leg.
Against Andrew Matthews, whatever I did, I got it wrong. But I would have, I would take it, but I wouldn't take it now. I'd bring Dom Bess or even Joe Root just a couple of overs at Dick Weller, left-hander. He's bowled, Leach has bowled at him a little bit. I'd bowl a few and then just say, right, Sam Curran, because Sam Curran has that knack, doesn't he, of swinging the new ball as he did this morning. So I'd probably give him 2 overs. So maybe with 15 minutes to go, I'll do that. Right, we're not going to get all the overs in, so with 15 minutes to go, I think I would take the new ball.
Still leaves a bit of hardness in the morning.
Yeah.
To come back and give it a second go. 210 for 4. 79 overs gone. And I reckon that's probably the end of Mark Wood. Third umpire's on duty. I've got a question for you, actually, Cookie. Happened during the summer as well, but when they're home umpires, you tend to kind of gloss over things a little bit. But here's another case where 2 really good international umpires, they're obviously up there in the top bracket, and the third, Mr. Hannibal, and the fourth, the team, the Sri Lankan team of umpires have done a really good job. And I'm just thinking in terms of finances, ICC finances. If you do have that extra review, they've given the teams one more, haven't they, to sort of balance out the home factor, if you like, to make the visitors particularly, I think, feel happy about it. Do you need international umpires? Do you need overseas umpires, neutral umpires, call them what you like? Then goes Bess round the wicket, tossing it up and pushed away by Dick Weller, and there's no run because for English umpires the thrill of standing at Lord's or something in a test match, which they can't do at the moment. Is this a way to A, save money, because you've got the reviews anyway. And goes Bess, bowls a little sweep there. Now there's an appeal from Butler, nothing from Bess. I'll be interested to see what the umpire signals here. But he's going to wait, I think, just in case. He doesn't want to give away the fact that maybe that was leg buys at the moment, because they might be considering anyway. What do you think?
No, I think you're good spot. There's no reason why you couldn't have not neutral umpires, home umpires in terms of the nationality. The DRS is a real saver, isn't it? There could be no hint of anything untoward going on, which I suppose is why they were brought in the first place.
Yes, absolutely.
And I think the players would look past nationality and just the quality of the umpiring and the decisions.
Matthews plays to mid-wicket, and there is no run. It just seems to be a big money saver. These umpires fly all over the place, don't they? Up, in and out during a series. There's the next one flicked away out to mid-wicket.
And actually, the honour of, say, an English umpiring at Lord's, or a Sri Lankan here at Gaul, a famous
it's a real incentive for the home, not just Lord's, but an Australian to stand in the Melbourne Test or whatever it may be. But it's not just the 2 umpires. But I mean, there are 3 of them go around. If you had an international ref, a neutral ref, if you like, there's one that's swept away down to fine leg. There'll be a couple here. Chase the fielder. Running around. There's Bracey down there, I think, who's come on the field as a substitute. Maybe Wood's having a breather. No, it just seems that, let's face it, with what's happened and everything else, it might be a way to save some money, because there's just no question, is there? You believe the technology, and while it's not perfect, if you balance it up.
Yeah, I think maybe you email the ICC Aggers with your idea. I'm sure how receptive they will be.
Well, sometimes they are. It's Bess again. Played into the onside and stopped by Bess with his boot.
I'm actually on the World Cricket Committee, ICC Cricket Committee. I could raise it.
There you go. You have a voice.
There you go, Aggers.
You have a voice. Well, I think it'd go down quite well, wouldn't it? I can't think why it wouldn't now.
No. And while I've got a voice, Aggers, I have a quick shout out for one of my friends who's just finished rowing the Atlantic. Got in last night.
You're kidding?
No, my friend's fiance, Tom, and their 4 crew just got in. Tom's
got in where?
Well, got into. God, my brain has just gone dead here. Antigua. They got into Antigua last night and rowed. Wow. And Tom's lost 2 stone. So I'm not sure it's. So I should mention Tom, Alex, Ed, and Harry. Congratulations! They're raising money for a mental health charity and the Christina Noble Foundation. So I had to get it out today, as they're probably
That's incredible.
Deserved a well-earned Carib.
So how many are actually rowing?
4 of them. They're obviously part of the thing. I mean, I think they're absolutely mad, but thankfully they all got in safely, and it's I think a brilliant achievement.
Oh, it certainly is. What an extraordinary experience that must be. So how long did it take them?
Well, they left at Christmas time, so I get kind of lose track of days and weeks in lockdown at the moment.
A good month, then.
Yeah, good month of rowing. Good stint. So I promised him I'd give him a shout out when I
think they deserve it.
So.
I think they deserve it. That is amazing.
And everyone can donate. I know they've got in. It's not too late to donate to those charities. So there you go. I know I shouldn't use my platform sometimes, but I think it's a brilliant achievement.
That's more than acceptable. That is incredible. Why do you do it in January?
I think the tide's right. I think that's why. I mean, I don't know too much about it. I'm going to probably turn off my microphone before I get you ask me too many more question aggers. But I think it's Vorney. Vorney, you on?
Alistair, I've got something on that race as well, because there's a 70-year-old chap called Frank Rothwell who's doing it, and he's doing it alone. Not with four, he's doing it alone. He hasn't arrived yet.
I was going to say, I hope he hasn't beaten my friends.
Wow, what an extraordinary thing. Well, thanks for raising that. Cookie, well, I think you're being stood down. Are we seeing you tomorrow?
I hope so. I mean, unless I've done something wrong and Adam's
I'll ring you at 10 to 3 to make sure you're on the road again.
Thank you very much.
2:14 for 4. And we've got Matthews on 101. The new ball has been taken, and Anderson's got it in his hand, and he lets it go, and Matthews plays out to cover. So new ball taken absolutely bang on the nose of 80 overs. Some debate as to whether you would or not, but shall see. We're hearing reports of a drop of rain, which is very odd, because all that I can see is bright sunshine. It looks a hot, sultry and clear afternoon at the moment. Matthews goes back again, carefully plays Anderson to mid-wicket. It may be a monkey's wedding, as you call it, when it rains with the sun out.
Is that right?
Oh yes. Well, an African expression, though, isn't it? A monkey's wedding.
I don't know. I've never heard that.
There you go. That would definitely, looking at what I'm seeing, if it's raining at the same time, that would definitely qualify for.
Why is it called a monkey's wedding?
I don't know. It's very much a sort of Southern African. Zimbabwe certainly use that expression. 2:14 for 4. Anderson bowls at a fuller length and swings away. Just enough to make Matthews think about that.
Well, I'm going to be thinking if they can just they'd take one more tonight, and they'll say to themselves they've had a real workmanlike day. It's not been easy. The pitch is flat. I think in the back of their mind also they'll be thinking, will this pitch crumble and deteriorate? By days 3 and 4 we'll have to wait and see. Are getting themselves in a lot better position.
Anderson outside the off stump, low stroke again from Matthews.
And we saw in the first game, but I do think, and the pitch has played better.
Yes.
It's just weather. You just know, I guess, it can suddenly go, can't it? And it's just when it will. I think it will at some stage in the match go like we saw the last one, but it's just a matter of when that happens.
We've never seen one not go, have we?
No.
214 for 4. 2 balls left in the over. Matthews looks up again to see, big in-swinger from Anderson, beautifully disguised, and Matthews just jammed his bat down on time, and it did swing too. Proper variation.
Again, I guess it's just the skill of Anderson to deliver that. There's no distinct change of action. All right, there's a little bit of a finger difference in terms of where he's placing his fingers on the seam, but very difficult to pick that up. But the line is perfect.
Yeah.
You know, it's not an in-swinger that's down the leg side. It's right on the money, starting outside off stump. And again, this time the outswing.
Outswinger this time, then defended by Matthews. 214 for 4 is where old swing bowlers like me are just so jealous when you see someone of that skill. I think I've overgone my time, haven't I? But there's still 25 minutes to go for Simon Mann to enjoy. But when you see someone who can, it's actually, I know it sounds silly, but I always found it silly to swing a new ball both ways, because you sort of needed a slightly rougher side to help
the swing, but Anderson can genuinely swing a new ball both ways. So it's wrist, it's where that seam is, it's like that rudder going through the air. It's such a brilliant skill, and all done making it look as if it's the same ball. That's what's absolutely brilliant about it. 2:14 for 4. We're going to be talking to Jimmy Anderson later. That'll be fun. And a reminder there about the Moose Cup, which we're watching here, and Simon Mann's ready to take us through to the close of the first day of the final test in the Moose.
And it's going to be Sam Curran to bowl the second over with the second new ball at 2:14 for 4. England desperate for another wicket today. Bowls to Dick Weller, an away swinging. Dick Weller hits it through the offside. It swung nicely onto his bat there, out towards the boundary. Is it going to be stopped just inside the rope? Yes, it is. Two fielders after it. The throw comes in from Lawrence, and Dick Weller is kept to 2 runs. Well, Matthews, I think, was having some treatment for cramp out there. But again, that looked like 3, really.
Yeah, and who's chasing it? Jimmy Anderson.
Should be running 3 there.
Yeah, nice shot, a nice floaty half volley. Played it with control, and Jimmy Anderson's putting a shift there.
It's a brilliant piece of fielding from Anderson. He got to the rope and flicked it back and dived over the rope to save 1 run. Mind you, he let a couple go earlier, didn't he? So perhaps he felt he owed this team something. Mind you, today, 3 wickets. It's been a real challenge for this Sri Lanka top order. Overall, they've come through. The game in the balance here. Curran goes in, bowls to Dick Weller, stays leg side of that in defence, pushes it up towards mid-off, and there's no run. 77 miles an hour for Sam Curran with a new ball.
Yeah, I've just noticed Andy Zaltzman's backdrop's changed. It's a theatre of some kind.
Well, he's imagining one of his comedy gigs, and the crowd sort of pouring in to watch him. I've seen Andy. He basically does it in front of about 50 people in a small theatre.
Is that the amount of people that come and watch you, Andy? That picture?
Yeah, pretty accurate. There's a big empty theatre. The first year I did the Edinburgh Festival.
Here's Curran bowling up on his toes. Dick Weller hitting it square with the wicket on the offside towards Bess. There's no run.
My first show as a solo act, 1 ticket sale on day 1.
Did he keep going? Could have just gone
Yeah,
on the
of course.
pub, couldn't you?
Was that a relative?
It was not a relative, no, but I think it was the closest I've ever felt to being a county cricketer.
It's picked up since then, though, Andy, hasn't it?
A little bit. Let's not go overboard.
Dick Weller on 13 on strike. Curran with the new ball. He's only bowled 8 overs today. Goes in now and bowls to Dick Weller, who comes forward and plays towards mid-on. And there's no run. So if you can be fresh after 6 overs, 6 hours in the heat and humidity of a Gaul day, fielding all day, then Curran will be. Having only bowled those 8 overs. But what England are looking for here is for him to swing the new ball, perhaps get one onto the pad or find the outside edge of Dick Weller's bat and get a vital wicket before the close. Curran moves in and bowls, and Dick Weller reaches for that, and it's half stopped in the covers, and they're going to single. It's Lawrence who knocked it down, and he went away to his left-hand side, trots after it, and there's 1 more run to the total. 2:17 for 4 after that marathon spell from Mark Wood. I mean, the idea of Mark Wood, wasn't it, I thought, was short, sharp shot bowling. 3-4 overs. What was the spell? 8 overs?
Yeah, 1 for 16.
8 overs, 1 maiden, 1 for 16.
I think sometimes you just get in a rhythm, you feel great, just go with it. There's Randy Carrick on the top of the fort, sole England supporter.
Matthews on 101 faces Curran. He's in behind a ball that's outside the off stump, covering it just in case it swung back in. It didn't, well, not very much anyway. Went up towards mid-off, and there is no run. In theory, 8 overs left in the day's play. It's 20-12. The official close of play is 12 o'clock our time, not Sri Lankan time. So 20 minutes left as long as the light holds. So perhaps time for 5 of those 8 overs, something like that. Dick Weller has 14 and Matthews has 101. Sri Lanka recovering from 7 for 2 and 76 for 3, and doing exactly what they didn't do on the first day of the first test, which is cobble together a score and see where it takes you. 2:17 for 4. Chance here to get up to 350, which feels like a decent first innings score on a surface like this. That is good, actually, good for batting, but may well offer more and more to the spinners as the game goes on. Anderson round the wicket, bowls to Dick Weller. Dick Weller, staunch in defence, offers the full face of the bat, rolls into the offside, there's no run.
Yeah, it's almost as if Sri Lanka need to try and target that 350 plus, but it doesn't need to be in a rush, because the longer it takes, the more time they're taking for the pitch to get baked and more footholds to be developed. There's been one or two balls today that have just taken a puff, but nothing at all like we saw on day one in the last game, where there was just explosions pretty much from that first session.
Anderson bowls to Dick Weller. Dick Weller plays across his front pad there. Anderson's arms instinctively go into the air, goes towards mid-on, and there is no run. I mean, there were times, well, actually there were more than occasionally, often in fact, where the ball was spinning too much in that last test match. It was beating the outside edge by a mile, and then bowlers would bowl too short, and batsmen would work them around, clip them through the offside and the onside. And Root swept brilliantly. It was a masterclass, really. Fantastic innings from Root in that first test. Degree of difficulty pretty high to score that big. Anderson bowls, and Dick Weller pushes that into the offside, straight to Dan Lawrence, who's fielding in the covers, and there is no run. Anderson has got this battle on between overs and runs in his day's plays. In his 17th over, he's only conceded 16 runs and taken 3 wickets. Sri Lanka being prepared to be patient on a slow first day. Anderson moves in again. He's closing overs the day. Bowls to Dick Weller down the leg sides, come off the thigh pad down towards fine leg. Dick Weller's off for 1, and Curran lobs in the return. And the leg by is signalled by umpire Dharmasena, so Anderson still stays at 16 runs in his 17th over. 218 for 4. And when he comes off the field, he'll be greeted by the media man who'll say, James, you've done well today, so it's time to do the media round of interviews, which actually is probably the schedule is not quite as intense with no media there. You still have to do a TV interview. Here is Anderson bowling, and it's clipped away by Matthews into the onside, and there's no run. TV interview, and then a Zoom call, presumably with you, Jonathan, and then also a press conference on Zoom as well. And probably what you want to do is go and stand under a cold shower and put your feet in a bucket of ice. 218 for 4. I suppose you could do the Zoom interviews with your feet in a bucket of ice. Matthews on 101. Anderson bowls on the leg stump, clipped away by Matthews. Anderson losing his line there, and he's been hit away through the onside for 4. Well, it's been a rare sight that, to see Anderson hit for 4 today. It might only be the second time. Andy will confirm that one way or the other. It's 2-2-2 for 4 at the end of the over.
It's the third 4 off Anderson in 17 overs, all hit by Angelo Matthews, and the head-to-head between them, 56 balls, 14 runs, 51 dot balls and only 5 scoring shots. So it's been a compelling battle between 2 fine players.
Yeah, it makes his figures even more ridiculous. 17 overs, 3 for 20, so you take the 3 4s out, so 16.3 overs Jimmy Anderson has bowled for 8 runs. That's bonkers. And it's just, obviously he's skillful and he's so consistent, but I do feel that the Sri Lankan mindset has been a little bit timid against him, almost fearful. When he has bowled a slide, it's a bad ball, it should go to the boundary, doesn't matter. But his name's Jimmy Anderson. You've still got to have the mindset when he strays on anything full or loose, or when you know you can climb into a shot, you've got to commit to it.
Here's Curran bowling, and Dick Weller back into his stumps defending. Philip Church on email says, talking of Curran, why hasn't he been chosen for the start of the India tour, bearing in mind he's played for Chennai in the IPL and the first 2 tests are being played in Chennai. Surely we need to squeeze every advantage we possibly can. That experience of his would help. Having said that, hold on a second, he played for Kings 11 Punjab, didn't he? And then he was picked up by Chennai, so I don't think he's actually played, certainly not for Chennai at home. Here is Curran bowling. It's defended by Dick Weller back up the offside of the pitch, and there's no run. He might have played a couple of games in Chennai for Kings 11, or one game in Chennai for Kings 11 Punjab. So that's not entirely apposite, that comment from Philip. But, I mean, basically, the three players that have been jettisoned, Wood, Curran and Bairstow, coming back for the, presumably come back for the last two tests, and then the white ball series, which follows. So they're all white ball players as well. So this is the argument anyway. I'm not saying it's the right thing to do. The argument is, there's Curran bowling outside the off stump, forced away by Dick Weller, doesn't really time it, goes rolling out towards cover, and there's no run. The argument is that you take players out and bring them back in because no one can play everything, because it's, there's too much cricket to catch up on this year. What they're going to do with Joe Root, I don't know.
Do they? Well, he's not in the T20.
No, so he has a bit of break then,
so
isn't he? Only a small break, isn't it?
And he doesn't play the IPL.
No, good point.
He gets a bit more of a breather. Do they come back to England and go in the tent at Loughborough, to then go back to India to play in the heat of Ahmedabad?
That's a good point. This is Curran going into bowl to Dick Weller, who reaches for that, plays it back past the bowler on the drive, goes to mid-off. There's no run.
I would have thought with the players that have got into the groove of playing, you'd have been better off continuing for another 2 games with the players that got into the groove of playing, and then bringing the players that haven't to get a couple of weeks adaptation to playing again, and then play. It's complicated, the situation, but I just can't get my head around the fact that Johnny Bairstow's been out of the test team. He's had his opportunity here, he's done it and taken it in the first test nicely, and if he gets runs here, he then has to go home. And surely as a number 3 test
Curran
batsman.
bowls played away by Dick Weller into the onside through mid-wicket for a single. Leach swoops away to his left, so one more, 2, 2, 3 for 4.
Yeah, number 3 test match batting, you get scores, you just want to go again, continue in the groove. The last thing that Johnny Bairstow would want, unless, look, it's just the new world of saying resting, whereas fundamentally underneath it, they've kind of been dropped.
I mean, it might just be that they don't like
use
the word.
No, it's kind of been banned, the word drop. You're not allowed to be dropped anymore. Everything's resting. It's just new society that we live. You've got to be nice. You can't be dropped.
Curran yet to produce anything with the new ball. Bowls to Matthews. That was a better delivery, squaring Matthews up. Ball runs off a thickish outside edge into the offside, and there is no run. Matthews 105. Curran's bowled 10 overs for 34 today. It's 223 for 4. There are 6 overs to bowl, but really 13 minutes to go on this first day. Some very, very dark clouds in the distance, but we saw in that last test match that the clouds can roll in, but they don't necessarily go over the cricket ground. It sort of sticks out, doesn't it, the ground and the fort, and the sea to the left and right, sort of on 3 sides really of the ground, sticks out into the sea. It's a peculiar topographical feature. It's a wonderful setting, great place to watch Test cricket when we get the chance. And Sri Lanka is a great country to tour. I think it's one of my favourites as well. It's an excellent place to go and cover cricket. Dick Weller on strike, Anderson bowls. Dick Weller is forward, playing to cover, and there's no run. There's the beautiful hill country in Kandy, that wonderful new ground they've built just outside Kandy Pallakeli. One of the most scenic environment around the ground you could possibly imagine, and Kandy down by the coast. Colombo's a bit different, the feel of the big city and all the grounds there. I can't say Premadass is my favourite ground in the world. Here's Anderson bowling. Dick Weller opens the face and runs it away into the offside towards backward point, where it's picked up by Bairstow. But when the crowd is big there, the atmosphere is great inside the Premadasa Stadium. The SSC, more sort of gentle environment. P. Sara Oval, a bit like a club ground with a few stands, but lots of tradition as well. All the photographs in the bar area, in the restaurant area, and down by the dressing rooms. Anderson, 18th over, goes in and bowls to Dick Weller. Dick Weller plays rather jerkily in defence, goes out towards cover, and there's no run.
Whose day is it, Simon? Who are you giving it to?
Well, I think they haven't got away from England, Sri Lanka, but I think I'd rather be 2-2-3 for 4. I mean, if this were England 2-2-3 for 4, I think I'd much rather be in their situation. Got some runs on the board, and it could go either way. I mean, but you back them to get 300 plus from here, which you feel puts them right in the game. But the pitch has been good today. It's held up well. Question how quickly it does start to help the spinners. Anderson bowls round the wicket. I think Weller plays defensively into the offside, and there's no run. And if they 300 plus, they could get 400 from here if they batted really well. Just a question of sticking in and making the most of it and getting those runs in the bank and then trying to put some pressure on. Of course, Sri Lanka have to come from behind in the series to get one hand on the antler. They've run into Angelo Matthews again today. Anderson bowls, fall, and that's uppish, but on the bounce towards Leach at mid-off, and there is no run. 2-2-3 for 4.
Yeah, I mean, you look at Sri Lanka 4 down, they would expect about at least another 30 odd overs on this kind of pitch, so it should take them beyond 300. And as you say, 400 if Matthews stays there and gets a 150, 175. 400 in the first innings in Gaul. I'm sure Andy can look at. I'm not sure how many teams have.
Anderson bowls. Dick Weller defends this time. He was nearly caught mid off the ball before. Well, Andy can have a check of that. It's 2-2-3 for 4. We've had 85 overs. I think it's time for Dan to finish off the day's play if he's still around. I can't see him on my Zoom call. I'm going to take a punt that he's still there. Daniel.
Teams winning in Gaul after conceding over 400. Pakistan made 451 and lost to Sri Lanka in 2014, and West Indies made 448 and lost in 2001. So there have been a couple of big first innings scores that have led to defeat, but it's fairly rare.
But it's generally when the opposing team bat first on those two occasions. So anything over 350 is going to be very hard for the England team. But they've chipped away nicely.
I'm going to continue. Here's Curran bowling to Matthews. Matthews defends solidly into the offside and there's no run. We're approaching the close of play. Got 8 minutes left. And England with the new ball. It doesn't done much for them, has it, the new ball?
Just a little bit of swing for Jimmy Anderson. Just a hint, nothing too drastic. Dark clouds. I think they're in for a storm. Early evening in Gaul. You just threw to Dan Norcroft. The Shore Sound, I don't even think they're on Zoom anymore. I think they've gone. I think the TMS branch.
Here's Curran bowling, clipped away by Matthews through square leg. This is going out towards the boundary. More runs here. It's a question of whether it be picked up inside the rope. It is. There's Bess away to his left. Gets it onto his right hand. Again, only 2 runs. Matthews, well, he could have a few more today, Sri Lanka, if they'd been able to pick up the 3s that were on offer. But Matthews not the quickest. 2-2-5 for 4. Yeah, I was just looking on my Zoom and I couldn't see them.
The TMS
the
branch
oval pod down there.
The oval TMS branch they don't do a full shift.
I think they've put,
they go somewhere. I don't know where they go. They
that card you put in the clocking on and clocking off machine. I think it's got in the clocking off machine. Curran bowls. Matthews up on his toes on the back foot. Plays it up towards mid off, and there is no run. These two are about to register 100 balls together. So it's good, tough digging in really. It's been a hard-fought day's Test cricket.
That's exactly what they didn't do. In the first Test match. To win the toss twice at Gaul, to lose that opportunity and play so badly in the first Test, surely weren't going to do that again. So they showed the right application today.
Curran bowls outside the off stump, short of a length. Matthews tries to force into the offside, doesn't time it, goes bobbling out to extra cover, and there is no run. Curran lifting his pace. That was 83 miles an hour. Embaldenia's poised. There's night watchman again. England desperately hoping they see him. Well, I remember saying today that England would be hoping to see Lakmal today. We haven't even got close, have they?
No, he's had a chill out day as the senior pro.
Curran bowls full. Matthews checks a drive, goes up to Wood, fielding at mid off, and there is no run. And then Matthews pulls off his gloves, perhaps thinking that was the last ball of the over. It was not. There was still one to come. Curran's not been able to get the ball to swing with this new ball. And that's his benefit, bustling in, getting the ball to swing back into the right-hander, away from the left-hander. There's been nothing on offer for him. so far fruitless. The new ball, Curran bowls. And again, Matthews checks the shot there. It was quite full. He could have biffed that down the ground if he wanted to, or at least tried to biff it down the ground. He checked it towards mid-off. And there's no run. End of the over. Matthews 107, Dick Weller 15. Sri Lanka 225 for 4 with probably 2 overs left. Maximum of 2 anyway.
Just a little more on the teams batting first at Gaul, to pick up on what Michael was saying. In 21 previous test matches, teams batting first scoring 300 or more, so 21 innings in which a team batting first made 300 or more, 13 wins, 3 defeats and 5 draws.
So those are encouraging stats in favour of Sri Lanka. That's a good test for England. This is going to be a very good test for them.
They'll know that they're going to have to bat incredibly well, particularly in that first innings. You don't want to believe in too much to do in that second innings.
Right, it's going to be Anderson to bowl. England taking their time over this, so it's possible this might be the last over of the day. Dick Weller on strike, a slip and a gully and a short extra cover in. Anderson bowls, or short cover outside the off stump. Dick Weller lets it go. He's been the model of responsibility so far, Dick Weller, after his 2 rather extravagant dismissals in the first test match. He does like to get on with it. You've seen him in white ball cricket. Played well in the last white ball series in Sri Lanka before the test series that England won 3-0. He looked actually the most likely of the Sri Lankans. Batting lineup took the game to England. Anderson moves smoothly and bowls to Dick Weller. Dick Weller plays away from his body there in defence. Probably could have left that, but with the angle, didn't totally trust his alignment and played it into the offside. And there's not much movement in this pitch, if any. And so he was able to get in behind it and defend it. Anderson still striving.
You see that technique, a bit more bounce, kind of square up to the ball rather than getting in behind it. His hands are away from his body. There's a bit more movement and bounce.
Yeah. Then he's in trouble, isn't he?
Oh, yeah. Gets away with it on this kind of surface.
Anderson, he bowled the first over of the day, and he might well be bowling the last. Goes in now and bowls to Dick Weller. He comes forward, plays that firmly to Sibley, who's got a dry cleaning bill tonight, no doubt about that. Mind you, you have to put them in the laundry anyway after a day in the sweaty heat out there, but he's also got lots of mud and dust all over his shirt and trousers.
Just 6 items a day, I think it is. That's what you're allowed. Might have gone up to 10, yeah. Phil Neal, the old manager, used to be very, very stringent on how many. He used to dislike those that just kind of kept a pile in the room. At the end of the week, just put it all in a bag because you didn't get your value. I think he got a deal at 10 items a day.
Right, I see. What, sort of free or part?
Yeah,
part
I think so. Yeah, so anything beyond 10, he had to write a cheque for.
Anderson bowls on the pads there of Dick Weller, who turns it down towards fine leg. 4 runs, might be 4. It is. The fine leg fielder Curran is quite square. Anderson straying onto the pads. He got, in a way, Dick Weller won the patience battle there because Anderson was hammering away around off stump just outside, and Anderson tried something different.
See, what people wouldn't realise with an international cricket team, that you would think that you just get all your laundry done at the hotels. Yeah. Well, Phil Neal, he realised you could get it cheaper outside, so he would outsource it to an outsourced kind of cleaning company.
But he's gone now, Phil, isn't he?
Yeah, magnificent job he did, Phil.
As the England manager, sort of tour manager.
Yep.
Doing all the admin. 229 for 4. 2 balls left in the over. It's coming up to 12, but I think it might well be it for the day. Anderson bowls to Dick Weller. Dick Weller is forward, playing back up the onside of the pitch. Dick Weller on to 19 with that boundary. And so this is the last ball coming after the 87th over. We'll lose 3 overs by the looks of it. 229 for 4. Anderson's face is bright red, sweat pouring off him.
Look at the sea there, Simon. You'd be straight out the com box, running back to the hotel, diving in, wouldn't you? With your Speedos on.
It is an alluring thought on a cold mid-January day.
It's glorious.
2-2-9 for 4. Anderson bowls to Dick Weller. It's outside the off stump. Dick Weller lets it go. It's through to Butler, and that's it. That's it for the day's play. The umpires have flicked the bails off, and Sri Lanka, after a poor start, have battled through to give themselves a chance in this game. Most definitely. 2-2-9 for 4 after the first day, and they got some runs in the bank. 2-2-9 for 4. A century for Angelo Matthews, and 3 wickets for James Anderson. And today, on the first day of this test match, no wickets at all for the spinners.